Ahoy, mateys. All right, we're going to rearrange my windows and make sure everything is set correctly. Drop the music down there. Hey, Steve, how you doing? We're going to work on Bastion campaigns tonight. The Asteroid communities that we've been making for Spelljammer, the Eberron Spelljammer Asteroid Belt campaign that we've been building here online. We're going to continue with that effort. Yar. Oh, who lives in a pineapple under the sea? Anyway, okay, great. So yeah, illustration here. Let's get this guy out of the way. We've been making asteroid communities here. So there's a couple different things I think we're going to be working on tonight. We have gone through 6 asteroid communities so far. We started. Actually, let's zoom out as we do and look at the community as a whole, and then we'll zoom in as we go. So, for those that are new to the channel, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them, and then I publish them online. So on Mondays and Thursday nights, like tonight, this is Monday night, I do game design. I also do game design on Saturday mornings. We do play testing for the game designing stuff on my Discord on Saturday as well, and then I do artwork Monday through Friday in the mornings before I go to my day job to create the artwork that goes into the books that we then publish on the DMsGuild. So for people that are interested, thanks. Glad that you are. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. We have new subscribers. We picked up a lot of subscribers since last week. Thanks a lot, guys. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we are live in the future. Here's a bunch of books that we've already created on the DMsGuild. They all have 100% free previews. The book of most relevance to this conversation currently is the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration document here on DMsGuild. Like everything that I do, it has a 100% free preview, so you can read all 107 pages, I think, from Proud to Stern. And if you decide to buy it, then there's like 120 ship and token assets. A bunch of creatures and ships that are in space. All of the NPCs and creatures from Light of Zaraxis are in here. All the system maps for Faerun, Zaraxis space, as well as all the combat maps for Spelljammer to operate inside of asteroid belts, fighting Scabbers, or exploring an asteroid belt with Nyogi and Mind Flayers hidden within. The Imperial Citadel, which is a 1-mile asteroid used as a base of operations, or bastion, if you would, by the Zaraxian elves. All those assets are in here for you to use this stuff. But this is, this is all my artwork. So book cover, all the interior stuff. I do all the artwork for these things Monday through Fridays in the morning. And boy, they're a hell of a lot of fun to do. So even if you're not so much a D&D guy, but you like my art, be welcome to kick through the document and check out all this stuff. You can click on here for the random system generator and see some cool environmental stuff, different types of worlds, asteroid belt amongst some planetoids, some lava world here. This is all just, it's all, I do art. There you go. Here's the Zaraxis stuff. The entire back end of this book takes the mechanics of combat and exploration that we presented in the previous 80 pages and then show you how to use them through the lens of Light of Zaraxis. If you were to run Light of Zaraxis using mechanics, which we did, this is the kind of combat encounters you can expect and how the crew would act using the siege battle mechanics that we introduced into this book. So this is relevant because we're building an Eberron Spelljammer campaign here on screen with you guys to both demonstrate the usefulness of the Bastion Campaign system that we've been developing, as well as to give us an opportunity to play test Mecha Kaiju mechanics that are based off of material that is in this book in the exploration chapter, talking about massive sized objects in space, and utilizing those ideas, we create a scale of growth for creatures. So you can take a medium-sized creature and scale up to 50, 500, a mile, even if you wanted to scale up a massive-sized creature. If that creature were huge at the 5-foot scale, you could scale it up to kaiju size, and the easiest way to do that would make it 150 feet or 1,500 feet, or like the Spelljammer ship, 3 miles in size. It goes from 5 feet, 50 feet, 500 feet, 5,000 feet. 5,000 feet is a mile, so now we're at 1 mile, 10 miles, 100 miles, 1,000 miles, up to 100 million miles. So you have this gradient of, I think it's 9 degrees of scaling from 5 foot to 100 million miles, which is the scope of movement that a ship is capable of acting in a day. You don't need a 100 million mile fish, but if you did, we could give you rules to scale it. So that's what the Mecha Kaiju mechanics that we have been building, and all of this stuff is available for folks to look at online. The Kaiju and Constructs work in progress. This is the book that we're currently using to build the Kaiju and the mecha to fight them, like Warforged Titans, Veritech, Gundams, Evangelions, Escaflowne, all those anime mecha. We can use 5e combat using the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration system to use 5e combat for characters that are piloting and operating vessels, ships, fighter craft, and now mecha on top of it. So we have the rules in here extracted from that book into here, distilled for just, instead of your ship being shaped like a fish or a bird or an insect, now it's shaped like a person. And since they're shaped like people, you could give them claw hands if you wanted to make crab people mecha, or you could just give them like normal, like Warforged hands, so they can pick up and use a sword at the 40-foot scale. And we have all that scaling mechanics built into this book, and this book is being used alongside the Bastion Campaign system that we've been developing here online for the past year. And it's coming along. It's incredibly close to being done. So we're going to actually start working on editing of this probably in the next couple weeks, alongside the 5-color mana system that we're rebuilding for 2024. I think we're going to get Bastion campaigns put together faster, and we can start doing artwork for that in the book in the mornings. We're finishing up our Eberron campaign in the mornings, but so the Bastion campaign is designed to give your characters geopolitical access inside of the game. And it's a work in progress, but it's gonna be a damn good work when it's done, my man. I playtest the shit out of my stuff, and I've been DMing for 38 years, so I've seen every kind of mechanic that has ever been in D&D, and a whole bunch of other game systems as well. So I'm pretty well read. I'm well versed. I've been DMing for 38 years, so I'm pretty good at being able to make adventures flow. And this Dominion procedurally generated campaign that this Bastion system provides is everything that I like about first edition or BECME, where your characters attain power and then use that power to create safe spaces and points of light in the wilderness to then build a society around and to push evil away. That all works. This Bastion system was designed to do that, along with creating trade routes so you can understand like how much type of material is moving back and forth, like say from Waterdeep to Daggerfell. There could be like 40,000 gold worth of commerce moving between those two cities at any given time, since Daggerfell is a city and Waterdeep is a metropolis. The metropolis is 5th rank while the city is 4th rank. So Daggerfell may be looking to get resources from Waterdeep that they don't have natural access to. So your characters can establish and maintain a trade route as a order that you issue to NPCs through your Bastion. Or if you wanted to make that adventure for yourself, then you can go fight bandits. And there's like 40,000 gold worth on that trade route. Like, it's worth defending, it's worth stealing from. So we're starting to establish gold amounts without actually having to worry about maintaining gold value, because we resolve everything with a lifestyle check, which is like in 3rd edition back in like 2005 they came out with modern D20. And what that did, instead of tracking dollars or rubles or yen or whatever country you were operating in modern 20, instead they had a wealth check where items would be priced at different points, and those different points translated into difficulties, and then you would make a wealth check, and depending on what kind of a character were you might like take feats and stuff to get bonuses to that roll. And if you could hit the number that you need, then you can afford that thing without worrying about it. If you failed the die roll, you could get it, but now your wealth is dropped down to the number by which you missed. Like if I needed a 15 to get that car and I rolled a 4, I get the car, but now my wealth has been dropped down to like say a status of 4. So like I only have like, instead of having like a plus 15 bonus on my wealth roll, I now only have a plus 4 roll on my wealth roll until I go through more adventures and accrue more wealth points so that I can start buying big ticket items. As long as the score was, I think it was like if your bonus is below the value of the item that you needed, if you missed the roll, you got it automatically. If it was more expensive than what your baseline wealth level was at, if you missed that roll, you could not afford to get it, but you don't lose any money. So I had this really fun shifting gear about how to use resources and wealth, and just living and like buying a burger and a TV and renting a cab. Like all that stuff was resolved with a die roll. So we've taken the entire economy of the world and we're doing die rolls. If I need something from you, then I'm going to make a die roll to see if I can establish a trade route to get it from you. And if I fail, there's a complication that's preventing that deal from going through. And we then randomly generate what that complication is, and if it's something that the team thinks is something cool that they would want to go on an adventure for, or if it's dealing with stuff that would like say progress one of their character's story arcs, it's like, let's do that adventure so I can create some closure with my bandit, my father who went and joined the bandits. Maybe he's working the bandits on that trade route. Maybe that's why that kingdom won't trade with us, because they know there's bandits in the region. That's an interesting adventure to me. So let's make that our adventure. And then me as a DM, knowing that they've already got emotional and commitment to buy into that adventure, I can then take that, build a short, maybe 2 or 3 encounter adventure, run it in 2 or 3 hours plus shenanigans, and they'll then be able to have that event with their father. And by going on the adventure and winning the adventure, you then resolve the complication, and it's as though you had rolled high enough to succeed at the die roll. Going on the adventure to resolve the complication automatically resolves the complication if your characters survive and get it back to the Bastion. So we run on Bastion turns, which are 7 days. We're going to use gritty realism. So every 7 days is 1 Bastion turn. Each Bastion turn you get a long rest. You get since the way that we're going to structure it isn't day by day, but we're running 4 sessions. And we're gonna do probably like 3.5-hour sessions on my Discord channel on like Saturday afternoons. So every 4 sessions will be 1 Bastion turn. So we'll have about 12 to 14 hours worth of game to resolve a Bastion turn, and we start it with resolving outstanding orders and then issuing new orders and discovering any complications that arise as a result of issuing those orders. If there are no complications, then the team is free to go on any kind of adventuring that they want for the week, because the Bastions are good, but we're attacking them with Kaiju. So to get back on point, yeah, man, back needs some good stuff. So, hey, cool, man. I'm glad that you really like the color mana system stuff. That is, that's my Saturday stream these days, is rebuilding that. We'll be doing, once this resolves, once the Eberron adventure resolves, we'll continue doing Eberron adventures. We'll continue doing Bastion Campaign mechanical stuff on Mondays and Thursday nights. We'll be committing to doing color mana spell point variant rules for 2024 on Saturdays. We do playtesting Saturday afternoon, and then Monday through Friday will probably shift to us doing maps and character assets and building mecha on Monday through Friday in the morning for this campaign, until we get to a point where we can start doing artwork for the next either for the Bastion campaign or the color mana system, whichever one comes up first. We'll start doing art assets in the morning, but until then we'll do campaign stuff, and then we'll shift our evening times to completing the Bastion campaign book, and Saturdays getting to work on rebuilding the 2024 books for color mana. So that's my itinerary, probably for the next 10 months is what I anticipate having those books. I'm hoping to have both the color mana system updated and the Bastion book published inside 2026. That's about 250 pages worth of content. That is ambitious, but if I miss, who cares? Because we're going to be talking about that stuff every day here online for the foreseeable future, and Q&As are most welcome, especially when I'm doing artwork in the mornings. And you can join my Discord channel if you want to tag in on any of this playtesting, or just want to utilize any of these systems that you're seeing me work on, and you want to, as a DM, incorporate them. I provide as much tutorial advice as possible, because most of the time those tutorial sessions turn into stuff that I put into the book, because I realize, I need to explain this better, or if I lay out as an example, this example, that'll help isolate this idea so that people can grok it quicker. Hey, thanks, man. Okay, great. So this is Eberron. Eberron is a planet. It was published first in 3rd edition. It was part of a New Worlds contest that Wizards put out to have a brand new world IP built for the brand new D20 3rd edition that they built. Keith Baker put in 7 different entries, and the last one, Eberron, was the one that actually made it. And like 40 books later, Eberron is a fantastic world. It's about 8,000 miles in size. Each one of these squares is 10,000 miles. There's 12 moons that orbit Eberron. I went simple with just circular concentric circles. The furthest, I forget the name of the moon, but it's connected to the plane of war of Shavaroth. It's 22 squares away, so it's 220,000 miles away. There's something called the Tears of Sybaris, which are asteroids and like massive dragon shard crystals that are just in the sky, and they're like in an asteroid belt orbit around around Eberron. So the way that I like to do it is between all of the orbits, the pathways of the moons. That's where you'll see clusters of asteroid, because if they were actually in the path of the moons, they would have been obliterated and knocked aside. So there's all these orbits of asteroids that are, well, there's more of them over here, but I don't anticipate actually needing to use that. I'll probably build that out eventually for fun. But in a Super Mario World style, these are clusters of asteroids large enough to potentially be communities where people could like create settlements, new bastions, and settlement systems and governments and stuff. So we're located here between the plane of Fernia and Frisia, and they are at war with each other. We're currently experiencing some weather issues because of those conflicts. But each of these squares is 10,000 miles. For this campaign, we've slowed down Spelljammers to be able to traverse 10,000 miles per day, which roughly translates into 500 miles per hour, or 1 mile. What is it? 10 miles. I think it's 10 miles per minute. It's 1,000 miles every 2 hours, 100 miles every 10 minutes. Hold on. Let me do my math again here real quick, because I always screw this up. Let's pop this open for a hot second here. Okay, so if we've got 10,000 miles per day per 24 hours, that means it's roughly, sorry, it can't be 100 miles. It's 10. Sorry, thank you. 10,000 miles per day. 10, 1, 2, 3 per 24 hours is roughly 1,000 miles roughly every 2 hours, which is roughly 100 miles every 10 minutes. 120 minutes is 2 hours, so roughly every 10 minutes is 100 miles. Then it's 10 miles minutes. So it's 10 miles every minute, which means 1 mile per round, which is divided into 10 squares at the 500-foot scale. A ship can typically move 5 squares times 500 feet as a move action, and then you could use dash for another 500. And at the scale of combat over the course of a minute, if you have if you have a rogue that's piloting your ship and they use canny actions to use their bonus action to give them another dash, then that rogue could potentially move 1,500 feet in a round, as opposed to like a fighter would normally only be able to move say 1,000 feet in a round. So depending on what kind of a character you have is going to affect how the ship works, which is in heavy detail in the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration Guide that I published, which is published down below. So having that in mind, the ships can move 1 square per day at this scale around the Eberron system. And Lord Masterville, right on the man. And so here's the square. So this is the square that we occupy here. And we'll eventually talk about what's going on, like Droam is over here, Lazar Pirates are over here, the Undying Court from, what is the name of that place? It's not Lamastia, it's something like that. Anyway, the Feywild. There's the Sealy Court, and then the Undying Court, which is like the Unsealy Court. And so they've recently had a manifest zone spawn over here. So they're currently at war. The Undying Court is at war with the Lazarian, the fourth Prince of Lazar, which is occupying this space. I think we've decided that this is going to be Breland, and this is going to be Aunder, and this is going to be Droam. And the rest of these territories are unoccupied, but potentially warred over between these two groups. They could be fighting over this right now. We don't know yet. We haven't zoomed in on that. The Breland colony that's here is basically ran by Kenneth and Lirandar, and it's a city, so it's 4th rank. It has access to high-end resources, but it's not quite a metropolis. So it has a population up to 100,000. We haven't decided what the population is yet, but it's over 10,000. And since they're 4th rank, they can provide to our area. We're at best 3rd rank. So if we want to climb to 4th rank through adventuring and investing and stuff to get our Bastion up to 4th rank, which is the equivalent of a 13th level character, we're going to have to create trade routes that connect us to there by getting through the Pirates of Lazar. So the pirates are in a really good position to create a chokehold and steal resources from Breland trying to equip us. This is a fresh air zone, so all this clear air here, it's clean because there's asteroids scattered throughout this these lines here that provide fresh air. So it's clean breathing. But if you want, you can head out here into the Poison Sea. The Poison Sea is fouled air. As soon as you step into it and you take a breath, you have the poison condition until you leave it. As soon as you take a breath of fresh air outside of the Poison Sea, all the disadvantages go away. But while you're in the Poison Sea, you are at disadvantage on every die roll unless you have a ship modified to have an enclosed environment that can basically recycle the air so you don't have to breathe the poison. So to avoid the pirates, the team has to go through the Poison Sea to basically avoid ambush and risk it. Well, that's a big risk. So let's zoom in. Okay, let's zoom in to this square where we're currently starting the campaign. The square is 10,000 miles. Each is a 20 by 20 space. Each square is 500 miles. Like we looked at earlier, it's 500 miles per hour is our movement. So in system, our ships can move 1 square per hour. So if I'm over here at Crag Fall and I want to head to Far Hope, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 hours. That's 4 squares away. That's a 4-hour flight to get from there to there. In this campaign, the characters have a Dwarven Citadel. The Dwarven Citadel is Fortress. It's 500 feet in size. That's a horrible drawing, but you know I just sketched it in. Here's the base level. The mouth acts as a hangar bay door to disperse mecha, as well as to be an intake for materials and goods that are moved back and forth between these communities, because not only are we acting as the sheriff and defense and like basically the Coast Guard to protect these communities from being attacked by kaiju, but it's also the trade caravan that carries things from location to location. So the team could potentially be in the middle of transporting, say, 2 ranks worth of Electrum ore from Crag Falls to Capital Rock, and kaiju could be reported as attacking Far Hope. And that's 4 hours away from where we're at right now at Crag Rock, and we would roll a die for us to know how long the kaiju, for the DM to know how long the kaiju is going to be there and how much damage it will do to the community on that asteroid if the team doesn't get there in time to stop it from its attacks. If the team can't stop it, it'll just trample stomp everything and then go away, and the team will get notification that it's already escaped. They could then attempt to pursue it into space to kill it so it doesn't come back again, or let it go because there's another threat that's pressing you. So the team is policing these communities to protect them from giant monsters, pirates raiding from Lazar, and all sorts of other nasty planar shit that comes through. But I wanted to draw attention to this map specifically because we've already done 5 out of 6 communities. The only one left that we have is Scabber Cove, which is here. And it's a very small, it's only a hamlet, so it's a small community. It'd be easy for us to resolve it. But the other thing we'll work on that in a few minutes. The other thing I wanted to look at was the manifest zone that got dropped by the moon Frisia when it came through. The Frisia is not the name of the moon. I just can't remember the name of the moons. But each moon in this, so in Eberron, the moons are attached or connected to the planes. So like Sephiroth is one of the moons that is tied to the plane of Mabar, which is the plane of undeath and darkness and terror. So when Sephiroth is full, the plane of Mabar manifests in called manifest zones around the system of Eberron. And in my Eberron, the planets aren't locations that you can walk on. It's not like you can go populate the moon of Sephiroth. It's a portal. And when the moon is new, the portal is closed. When the moon is full, it's completely open. And manifest zones can get dropped in the system throughout these systems. In the instance of the moon attached to Frisia, the plane of cold and imprisonment, it dropped a manifest zone. This outer layer, this inner layer here, this darker circle, that is deal damage to every round levels of cold that you have to have magical protection or naturally immune to cold, like ice elementals are, to be able to operate in that space. This wider, grayer donut is an area projected from that deadly cold to be so cold that it's killing crops. So the 3 asteroid communities that we already created for Capital Rock, Crag Falls, and redstone. All three of them are in this cold snap that's killing vegetation on their asteroids, and they need help to provide food from the three communities that are outside of the cold snap. But every bastion turn, this cold snap's going to get a little bit bigger, and it's going to get closer to absorbing these, and this deadly cold will also continue to expand, and the team won't know how fast it's going to expand. But once the deadly level gets onto these asteroids here, they are dead. Everyone has to leave. So that becomes a crisis that your characters need to resolve. So it might be that the very first thing that the team wants to really target in the campaign is, what do we do about this manifest zone before it expands and kills everyone? And if the team can figure out a way to resolve it, then they'll save their community. If they can't, well, then they're going to be basically escaping this and trying to bail to go to another system. They'll have to go through the poison sea, but they can't because of the frozen region that'll kill them. So they're forced to either go around and add days, or go through here and deal with the pirates along, because that frozen zone is all in this area here. So they'd have to go all the way around that frozen zone, and going this way will lead you to pirates. This way will lead you to God knows what. So there's risks there. They either deal with the ice elementals and find a way, or they start looking for an escape route for a population of roughly 8,000 people. And they can't carry that many people on their carrier. So there's going to be some hard choices the team's going to have to make right up front, which is great. It's going to stimulate the adventure, and as a result, then we can start introducing the kaiju. So once they're able to resolve the cold snap or find some sort of resolution, then they'll start dealing with these kaiju that are coming out of the poison sea to attack their populations. So like I said, we've gone through all the settlements in this cluster except for one, and that is Scabber Cove. So we're going to now go into our playtest document here. Not Kaiju Constructs. I want to go to, let's drop this out of the way. Hey folks, how's everyone doing? I hope y'all are having fun. I love doing this stuff, so y'all are welcome to stick around, ask questions if you want. I'll answer as I can. But let's go to, here we are. The Eberron Spelljammer Mecha Kaiju XCOM Bastion Campaign. So you can see how, like, going from asteroid to asteroid, protecting them from kaiju, that's a very XCOM 2 style game. You've got your carrier ship that delivers mecha to the asteroid that needs to be defended. Deploy the mecha, 5e combat, fight the kaiju, chase them off or kill them, or do however you want to resolve them. And then from there, between kaiju battles, the team can be doing downtime activity at the different bastions that they have control of. They can be issuing various trade, harvest, crafting, magic item empowerment, and research roles through the bastions to find out information about, like, the Frisia threat or the pirates. They can do spy work. They have a lot of different resources that they can tap into as much as they want. And then as a DM, I'll be rolling random events each bastion turn to see what the flavor of the week for this TV episode is going to be. And then the episode lasts 12 hours over the course of 4 weeks of gaming, about three some odd hours per day. So about 12 hours per bastion turn. It'll take like maybe an hour or two to resolve all the bastions and see if there's any complications that arise that we can then decide, does this adventure sound like something fun that we want to send our characters on to do, or do we want to relegate this to NPCs by issuing orders for them to send hirelings off screen to go resolve the situation for us using a skill challenge, just a 5e, 4e, 5e style skill challenge to see if they can resolve. And if they resolve it, then it clears up the complication and the order gets processed like usual. If they fail the complication compounds. Like you sent mercenaries to go clear the trade route that you wanted to establish between, say, Waterdeep and Daggerfell. Well, they failed. So now not only is the trade route not established, but your scouts or your SWAT team hasn't come back. So they've either been captured or killed. So now you've compounded your complication. Do you want to get involved as characters at this point? Because your NPCs don't seem to be hacking it. No. We're gonna relegate it to our NPCs. Well, you've already tried to send soldiers in to clear out the trade route and they failed. So you can't try that again. You can't do the you can't check for traps again. You just fucking check for traps. You can't send soldiers to clear out the trade route for you. They already failed. So what's your next great idea? Maybe we send spies in to find out if they're actually captured or not, and if they can help them break out of prison as a heist. We could do that. Is that an adventure that you guys want to go on? Not really. We want to go fight harpies. Okay, you guys go fight harpies, and now we're going to issue an order. You can't issue the order this week because they've already been captured, but next Bastion turn, when it rolls over, you'll be able to recruit spies to then go and try to rescue them while you go do whatever you want. You see how that plays out? But you could have, you could issue 5 or 6 orders and all of them could fail. It's a skill check. So if you fail the skill, in those skill checks, it starts at 10, 15, 20, 25. Eventually it gets up to to make a legendary magic item, or to learn Beelzebub's true name, or to establish a planar rift to Arcadia. All of these things, these are like DC 30 checks. And even with your best stats in this game, you still have a 33% chance of failure. So if you issue 6 tasks at your highest rank at any given time, you're probably going to fail 2 out of 3 times, which means it's generating more adventure hooks than your characters have the ability to resolve, unless we make them 2 or 3. So whatever time we have in our campaign, the 12 hours, I will build these complications to, hopefully, if I do it well, be completed in 3 hours. So we can have a session of fighting kaiju and doing a Bastion turn, and then we have 3 more sessions to run to resolve 3 more complications. Or if they don't have that many to solve, or if they want to relegate them and go do something else, then how much of your game time in the remaining 9 or 10 hours that we have, how do you want to focus that? Let's go fight ice elementals to see what we can do to get rid of the manifest zone that's going to kill our community. So they'll have the freedom to choose what they want to do. When the complications arise, we'll play mice like a sort of microscope, and we'll all work together as a team to decide what is that complication and how would you go about solving it. And if you want to do that, I'll make an adventure out of it. Give me a little bit of time, and I'll have that for you next week. What else do you want to do? And they'll go through all their complications and create scenarios out of all of them, and then they'll decide how many of those do they want to tackle. They'll only be able to do some of them because we only have 4 sessions. So at the end of those 4 sessions, if they didn't get to it, they're going to have to either let it go as unresolved or issue an additional order for their NPCs in their various bastions to go try to take care of it. Because I didn't have time to get to it, I'm going to issue it to them, and then it either succeeds or fails. You do your initial orders, and any complications you can try to resolve one. You can try to reserve one round of complications. If you succeed, the complication gets resolved. We get to create the narrative between us, just like we created the adventure. If it gets resolved with NPCs, I'll lead and say, here's how I think it gets resolved. What do you want to add to that? Or do you want to change that in any way? And then we can, as a team, work out what the narrative of what that was between their NPCs and my NPCs, resolving something, and that will create a new state. Like when the SWAT team was captured trying to clear the bandits from the trade route so we could establish trade between Daggerfell and Waterdeep. They got captured. So that was the complication. The solution was to send in a SWAT team. The SWAT team failed. That was the only effort we could make towards that this week. So the next Bastion turn, we could either go on the adventure to try to rescue them if they're alive ourselves, or we make a new NPC order and send spies off to locate them and do a prison break if necessary. And if they fail, the spies will have been caught as well as the soldiers, and you're now 3 Bastion turns in, and you still haven't established that trade route between Daggerfell and Waterdeep. Do you want to finally get involved in this, or do you want to just keep going down the pipe and creating more and more complications? So that is the procedurally generated aspect of the game, where we're going to randomly determine if a task succeeds or not, and whether or not the complication resolves itself or not, or do you want to make an adventure out of it? And through those decisions, we as co-DMs will decide what all the NPC stuff is, and anytime the characters want to zoom in and mount up and run on a mission themselves as characters, then they give me we all work out together what's the general premise and theme of you to lock in on this. Let me go and build some surprises and challenges into it, and I'll have that for you the next session. So that's the idea of how this is going to operate. So having said all that, long story short, too late, right? Let's scroll down. And so in this document here, we have all the moons and where they're located at. The basic mecha mechanics that we're importing here from the Mecha Kaiju book that we're looking at. Where was that? Was that here? No, that's Spelljammer Subclasses. Here, Spelljammer Kaiju and Constructs. Thank you. This is the basics of like when I build a mecha, and we'll deep dive into mecha again after we get done with these communities. So I'm going to scroll down here. We've already worked through. There's 6 communities: Capital Rock, Crag Falls, Redstone, Fell Tower, Farhope, and Scabber Cove. All 5 of them have been completed so far. So we'll hide Scabber Cove for a second. Here's Capital Rock. Capital Rock is 60-mile diameter. Oh no, wait, hold on. Capital Rock. It's 30 miles, 5-foot steps. These are 5 miles. It's what, 5, 10, 15. 5, 10, 15. So that's a 30-mile asteroid. Thank you. And it's got a population of. Where's that listed? Where's my population listed? Over here. Thank you. That's right, 60-mile rock. So these squares are 10-mile squares. And so if we go down to Capital Rock, we built out all the with this system, settlements are bastions. Bastions are from the DMG. It's insufficient. So this Bastion Campaign book that we have built this is the wrong folder here. Bastion Campaign book that we've been using, and that is also linked down here. Mecha Kaiju is here. The Bastion Campaign workbook is here. The workbench, the campaign that we're working on is here. And then here's the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration. This is all built off of in the DMsGuild. So the Bastion Campaign, it takes the idea of Bastions from the DMG and gamifies it. Currently, the way that it's written is you put some gold into it and you get magic items and benefits. Basically, you get charms and magic items and material equipment and like weapons and stuff that your character needs or helps your character, like retrain a skill or whatever. That's what Bastions currently do in the DMG, and they start at 5th level, and they are very limited in what they can do. And some of them actually create money, so if you build them right, you have a worse money problem than before, because it just keeps generating money, and you already don't have anything to do with it. The Bastion system was supposed to be a money sink that would take money out of your character's pockets and give them a benefit. But what it actually does is it gives characters a benefit with very little cost and no risk. But it gives you basically free rewards, and one of those rewards can be more money than you spend. So if you build it that way, you're just going to have infinite wealth, and it doesn't resolve the problem of my character has too much money. What we do with the Bastion system is we take everything out of your character's pocket. Like we were just talking about before, there's 5 ranks, there's 10 Bastion points per rank. So when you get 10 points and then you get your 11th point, you become 2nd rank. Then you become 3rd rank with 21 points, you become 4th rank with 31 points, you become 5th rank with 41 points. Each facility that you want to put into your Bastion costs 1 point. You'll get a number of orders that you can issue per Bastion turn for free, but if you have facilities open to issue more orders to, and you could then spend a Bastion point per order, and at the end of the Bastion turn, all spent Bastion points come back to you. If I've got like a laboratory and a smithy in my Bastion, I wouldn't get those 2 points back from those facilities. Instead, those basically, like in Magic the Gathering, you tap mana to cast spells. while you have facilities in your Bastion, those points are basically tapped. So you can't use those points until you scrap that facility. And you could sell off the facility and all the stuff in it and fire the hirelings and get that Bastion point back. And the Bastion ranks scale up in degrees of 5, like the entire D&D 5e game engine. Like for magic items, there's common, uncommon, rare, very rare, and legendary magic items. So if I want to make a legendary magic item, I have to have 5th rank facilities with either a 17th level character or 5th rank hirelings. And those hirelings took a DC 30 for me to hire them to work at my facilities in the first place. And now that they're there, let's put them to work. I want you to make a legendary magic item. Well, it's going to be a DC 30 for a rank 5 order that you issue. And if I fail that DC 30, sorry boss, I can't make your magic hammer, we're missing something. Or Zed doesn't know how to do that. Or the Dwarven God is pissed at us. He won't let us do anything until we give him a tribute. Or blah, 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 blah. It just depends on what you're doing. It's all Daggerfell and Waterdeep again. Like, if you relegate it to your NPCs and they already failed the task once, maybe your Bastion isn't strong enough yet to actually succeed at that task, and maybe you need to get your characters involved before they spiral out of control. But as you gain ranks, you get more Bastion points, and initially they're cheap. Like, how much would it actually cost to set up a blacksmith that makes nails and horseshoes? Like just an anvil, a kiln, some ingots, and hammer tools, and someone knows how to work them. That's basically it. You can get all that for 100 gold. So for 1 Bastion point, you can get a smithy facility in the, like, out of your garage or whatever. It's just a nothing little blacksmith shop. You can make some stuff. Nothing more than 100 gold pieces of value, but you can do that. The 5 ranks of magic items determine the level of the complexity of items that you can create. Like, for example, a Spelljammer Hammerhead ship is 40,000 gold. No, it's 80,000. It's 80,000 gold for a Hammerhead ship. I think that's right. 80,000 gold. So first rank magic. This is the gold piece value of a Bastion point, which we'll get to. Let me jump down to another section so you can see magic items, for instance. Here we go. Empowering magic items, your levels of rarity, the DCs to hit them 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. The entire game is built off of that accuracy curve. The bounded accuracy curve of D&D is 5 grades of success. 10 for, you have to make a die roll, but we expect you to pass it. That's common magic items. That's like making a pair of shoes, bending a horseshoe, super low effort shit. Like chainmail, I think, is 75 gold. So like a first rank blacksmith, given enough time, can bend enough circles into place to make a suit of chainmail for you. But like a suit of full plate armor is 1,200 gold. So I wouldn't have access to that until I was a 3rd rank smithy, which means I'm effectively a 9th level character. Like the NPC has the same ability check bonuses effectively to what a 9th level character would have. So it's basically a surrogate 9th level character making stuff for you in a 3rd rank in a 3rd rank facility. Each rank of a facility costs an extra Bastion point. So we're looking at 1st rank Bastions here. And I can't have a facility that's a higher rank than the Bastion. So until my Bastion gets 11 points, I can only spend 1 point per facility. So I could stock up on 10 separate facilities and have everything that I need and just keep putting 10 points per rank into all my facilities. But you can do things with Bastion points. Like you can issue extra orders. If like, for example, if a magic item is going to take 17 or more like 4 Bastion turns to complete the magic item, I don't want to have to roll every Bastion turn, because if I screw up, I have a complication, and progress stops until we resolve it. What I can do instead is, let's say it's a 3rd rank magic, like that suit of armor that we're making, for example. That's a 3rd rank item for an armory or a blacksmith or a workshop to make. So, and it's 1,200 gold. It would take a month. It would take a month for us to build that full plate armor. Unless we had special circumstances that would allow us to speed up. 1 month is 4 Bastion turns. I would have to roll that DC 20 and succeed 4 times over 4 Bastion turns for me to make that armor without complication. And a complication should arise anytime, and if I don't resolve it, progress is put on hold for another Bastion turn. So now it's 5 Bastion turns if I can fix it. If I can't, 6 turns, 7 turns, it's just going to keep going. I got to fix this problem, otherwise I'll never get my armor. Whatever the problem is, we got to fix it. If instead I succeed the die roll, and it's going to be 4 Bastion turns of checks, instead I can, 3 Bastion turns worth of checks to come through on this item. I could spend 3 Bastion points and like tap those 3 Bastion points to sustain that task. So you're going to carry out this order, and unless the smithy burns down or you're killed, you're going to stick with this for the 4 weeks that you need to complete it. So you never have to re-roll again as long as you've tapped some of your Bastion points to sustain an ability. So you don't want to have 10 facilities at first rank. You're going to probably want to have like 4 or 5 facilities, and then use the rest of your points as a cash for you to be able to spend to sustain activities or to get extra orders so that you can resolve complications that arise. So there's a lot of things to do with Bastion points other than just buying facilities that you're going to, like if you want to make an army and send it off to attack somebody else, you can use Bastion points to tap and equip that army with everything that it needs and build a trade route, a supply line that's like a mobile trade route that is just following your characters as they go across the countryside to go attack another Bastion somewhere. And so I need a number of Bastion points equal to the number of Bastion turns it takes my characters to get there, because I have to have an ongoing food supply line from my Bastion to my army, which is now 300 miles away. So I have to have like 5 weeks worth of rations set up to be flowing through there in a trade caravan so I can keep my troops supplied. And if I can't, they have to attack a village and damage it to take Bastion points away from that community by plundering it so that they can feed themselves off of the plunder that they took from that community. But those points are destroyed. A trade route that I established to provide a supply chain, once I set those points and I tap them, they remain active until somebody breaks my supply chain or my supply line, which is sabotage. So an enemy can sabotage supply lines to starve an army so that you start losing points, Bastion points every week, and damage from not being able to feed your troops. So they're now deserting. So if you can keep pillaging communities along the way to steal Bastion points from them, you can keep your army intact until you can reestablish a new supply chain to keep that army moving. And once they get to their destination, as long as you just keeping that supply chain in place, you could then issue orders to attack as a siege, to attack that Bastion, just doing damage to the Bastion points that it has. And when it runs out of Bastion points, it's destroyed. You can issue orders to repair your Bastions, kind of like a healing spell. You can spend Bastion point, or you can spend orders to repair damage as another Bastion issues orders to damage you. So you could be eating up your points, and if you have like say 5 spare points laying around, and somebody hits your Bastion for 4 points of damage, well, I'm just going to use my pocket. I'm just going to pay 4 points out of it, so none of my facilities are damaged. But if we get if our smithy gets raided and they attack and my smithy gets damaged, I can't make that plate mail anymore. So I need to have defenses in place to protect my Bastion. So I have to have barracks in place that are using this command to keep a patrol out, which is basically just like a spot check that your community makes to see if there's anything that's going to harass you, like Kaiju, for instance. Oh no, Kaiju are coming. Where are the guards? Guards, you're the guards in your mecha fighting Kaiju. There you go. So that's the idea of it. A higher rank community has more Bastion points. Oh, the point was gold. So we were talking about gold value. So at low levels, it doesn't cost a lot. 100 gold pieces, 1,000 gold pieces at second rank, like when your character is at 5th level. By the time your characters get to 9th level, that's 3rd rank. Each Bastion point is worth 10,000 gold, and this is the limits of sanity in the economics of D&D. Most of the time, most peasants are operating at this 1st rank. Anything less than 100 gold is probably on their speed. Once you get into aristocratic stuff, the sky is the limit. So you can see these costs are ridiculous. So instead, if you want to purchase a Bastion point, if you have a 2nd rank Bastion and you've got 13 points right now, you're going to go and spend 1,000. You're going to have to go find 1,000 gold to purchase an extra bastion point to then use that point to like make a new facility or to stabilize your income or like to stabilize your lifestyle so that no one's starving or to establish that trade route or whatever it is you're using bastion points for. But once I get up to like 9th level, each bastion point is worth 10,000 gold. That's really, we're pushing this, like I have to get 10 bastion points at 10,000 gold. Basically, I have to spend 100,000 gold to get my bastion from 3rd rank into 4th rank. And once I'm in the 4th rank, each bastion point is 100,000 gold. So it's right around this title level, this 9th level in Bekmi, in firsts, and as well as in Bekmi, the original D&D, as well as 1st edition AD&D and 2nd edition D&D. Less so in 2nd edition, but still. Your 9th level was like your title level, where you, like, a fighter actually became a fighter, a wizard actually became a wizard. And it's at that title level that you started gaining, you've accumulated enough wealth to start creating a kingdom or a wizard's tower or a fortress or whatever, a thieves guild, whatever. With this system, it's, yeah, you can go on adventures, and at low levels, every 100 gold pieces can be put into advancing your bastion. And at some point after, you're going to have enough points that you're going to get into 3rd, maybe 4th rank, into 3rd rank. And at that point, I need 10,000 gold a pop. And like a Dragon's Lair might have 30,000 gold worth of material in it, but for my team to get to like 14th level, I'm going to need like 40,000 gold. So where am I going to get that from? It becomes really difficult to logic, where's all this gold coming from? What the hell? Instead, we frame the campaign around bastion points. So now at 9th level and higher, you're starting to do favors for diplomats, royalty, high-level NPCs, high CR monsters, avatars of your god. And instead of giving you, here, have 300,000 gold pieces and flood the market with gold, and like a village can only process 100 gold pieces per bastion turn. It's gonna take 1,000 bastion turns for that 100,000 gold to be absorbed by that hamlet. It's better to go to Waterdeep, where it can do 1 million gold pieces worth of commerce at basically any given time. That's the scale that Waterdeep or Sharn is at, or Sigil. These are all 5th rank settlements that can literally get you anything that you want. So it's operating in the 1 million gold range. Well, instead of giving you 300,000 gold pieces to figure out how to carry it back and to find some place to take it to make it useful, instead you're given bastion points. For this adventure, the reward will be D4 plus 2 bastion points, -1 for every objective that you fail. Something like that. So you complete the adventure and you're given 3 bastion points that you can then plug into your current bastion. So if I had 24 points, I now, like from the king that said, hey, I need you to clear out this troll swamp. If you can clear out the troll swamp, I'll give you 3 more bastion points to fund the production of more stuff in your bastion. So there you go. Great. I go clear out the swamp. I got 3 bastion points. Those 3 bastion points can be used to make more suits of armor or even rare magic items, or like up to 5th level spell scrolls. So like it has all the resources I need that a 9th level character would have access to. So instead of operating out of gold at that point, you step away from gold and now you move into bastion points. Like let's say you're a pirate and you're raiding a caravan of ships, and you take them, and you're plundering them. They were a trade route that was leading to a 3rd rank community, and 3rd rank, that's the point that you're operating at. So it basically had like D4 plus 2 times 10,000 gold pieces worth of stuff. So instead of doing all the pencil and paper work of what's in that stuff and keeping track of all that money, we just now know, well, it was 3rd rank worth material, and we'll roll to see how many bastion points worth of treasure you get from that merchant ship. And instead of converting, if there's like stuff that you want out of that treasure, Like maybe you wanted better armor, or like maybe the reason you were there in the first place is because like there's a magical flute or something, whatever. You get all this shit, and then you get this extra treasure. So instead, you take the treasure back to your back to the dockyard that you're like the Pirates Cove that you operate out of as like a seaport in for rogues, right? And you can just take all that stuff and just fence it, and it just immediately gets converted into, say, D4 plus 2 Bastion points that you can then like set up a shop there in town as a new Bastion that acts as a trade depot for you, or you can just take those Bastion points back to your main lair and add them. And so by going on adventures, the rewards that you get from your patrons are providing you all of the wealth that you need to advance your Bastion. And then if you actually need gold, you can take a Bastion point and then convert it into gold. The more gold you need for that Bastion point, the longer it's going to take to auction off your materials to get its value. Or you could just cash in the point. Like if it's worth 10,000 gold pieces, I could try to do a good ability check to auction it all off so that I get 10,000 gold pieces worth of value immediately. So I get 10,000 gold pieces of value, but it could take 2 or 3 Bastion turns to get it. If I need that cash now, I can instead burn that point and roll D10 times 1,000 gold. And whatever result I get, that's how many 1,000 gold I need. So like if I only need like 2,000 gold worth of shit for whatever this thing is that we're doing, if we had those spare Bastion points at 3rd rank, I could burn off a point, roll a D10, and I could immediately liquidate it and get like say 3,000 gold that I could then bribe or do whatever. I have cash on hand now. But I could also operate, hey, I will give you 2 Bastion points worth of resources if you do this thing. You can start operating at Bastion points as well. And in that sense, Bastion points basically become spell points, or like mana that you spend to cast actions for characters to perform, and if it's or for NPCs to perform for you. And if it's going to be something they're going to have to maintain concentration on across a number of Bastion turns, then you tap that mana to maintain concentration, just like we do with the color mana system for the color mana spell points that we were talking about earlier. So that's the system. So Bastions, that's like your blacksmith or like your castle or whatever. But now we're talking about settlements. So settlements are a Bastion facility that's been turned inside out. So a settlement is a type of facility. If a Bastion has both the government facility, which means it's good at bureaucracy, keeping track of paperwork, issuing fines, and following up on them, and it has a settlement, then it can govern a settlement. And the size of the settlement is going to be based on the rank of the facility that is ruling over that community. So if we go down to settlements, we'll see a first rank settlement, which can be ran by a first rank government, which is basically like a mayor sitting on a stump somewhere. He knows everybody that's in town, and he's keeping track of who's doing good and bad, and he'll wag his finger at the guys that aren't good. A hamlet can have up to 100 people. It's going to have at least a 5-mile radius area for it to be able to produce enough food for everybody. At second rank, it goes from, again, 1 to 100, and then 101 to 1,000, 1,001 to 10,000, 10,000 to 100,000. And then a metropolis is any community that's larger than 100,000 population, like Waterdeep, for instance, has 2 million population. So it probably has somewhere around 150 Bastion points floating around at the highest level of government. That then trickles down to lower, like each ward in Waterdeep is its own city unto itself. And so the blanket, like the umbrella of the Council of Waterdeep, the Lords of Waterdeep, act as this 5th rank government that then issues commands to lower ranks inside the bureaucracy. Each ward has a lord, has a master of that ward. That would then be a 4th rank community inside of the umbrella of the metropolis of Waterdeep. You see, it cascades down. Once you have a government facility, you have the ability to issue orders to other bastions. So you can have like a pyramid scheme of different layers of bureaucracy and leadership inside of your bastions. Like in 3rd edition, if you took the leadership feat, like a 7th level fighter would get like a 5th level sidekick, like say a 5th level rogue, and then like maybe 45 1st level fighters, and that's like your warriors. That 5th level rogue, if you allowed, could have a leadership feat and might have a 3rd level cleric as its own follower. And that 3rd level cleric might have a single squire that follows them around, like maybe it's a warlock or something that's his sidekick. So you have this cascade of leveled PCs that you can basically like Russian doll and shell inside of each other. The larger one taking responsibility as an umbrella over the smaller, while delegating activities to these other bastions and settlements, just like you would relegate tasks to NPCs inside your bastion. Hey, build that armor for me. But if I wanted to do it myself, I could. So like this is that cascade, and that's how the mechanics inside of the system works. So once you have that facility, if I, as a 1st rank community, if I've spent 1 point to have a government and 1 point to have a settlement, I can now create a hamlet around my bastion. And a settlement provides basically each bastion has to maintain their own lifestyle. However it is that you make money in your thing, whether it's building shoes, researching stuff like a library, or making magic armor, or spying on people, or stealing, whatever your shtick is, you make a lifestyle check, like the wealth check we were talking about for D&D Modern earlier when I was streaming earlier. You have 5 degrees. You've got poor, modest, comfortable, wealthy, and aristocratic on a scale of DC 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So when you roll your lifestyle, as long as it's at least 10 or better, you're okay. You're not great, but you're okay. Whatever, and then you could spend points to sustain that level of lifestyle for however long you can sustain it. Over here it shows you, like a hamlet lives literally from week to week. But as soon as you get to village status, if you hit a lifestyle that you like, you can maintain it for up to a month by spending that many points. Like a comfortable lifestyle costs 3 points. And if I spend those 3 points and I leave them tapped, I'll maintain that comfortable lifestyle for the next 4 weeks. And during those 4 weeks, I could spend an extra order to try to match that. So I've basically got 4 weeks for me to maintain a comfortable lifestyle. And if we can maintain that, then we can just leave those points tapped for another 4 weeks, as long as we're issuing the order to try to continue keeping these forward. Waterdeep as a metropolis, cities, they only have to make 1 check every year. So Sharn, Sigil, Waterdeep, 5th rank settlements, once they hit that DC 30 aristocratic lifestyle, they can spend 5 points and it'll stay aristocratic for an entire year. So every now and again, they can just spend an extra point to issue another order. Let's see if we hit that DC 30 or not. If they fail, because they have points tapped, they keep the lifestyle, but it creates a complication because you're creating ripples in the economy that are leading to, is this trouble? The market gets scared because there's ripples happening, because they're trying to sustain a lifestyle and they failed. So we still have the aristocratic lifestyle, but now a complication arises that has something to do with economics. And we have all those tables further down here on how to generate complications. And we've spent a number of sessions talking about that. Yeah, so that's basically how the system works. So you melt all the economics of the place away. Like aristocratic lifestyle, say, being maintained in Waterdeep. That doesn't mean that everybody in Waterdeep has a aristocratic lifestyle. That means it's capable for people in your community to attain an aristocratic lifestyle with the resources that are in this community already. If this was only a 3rd rank community and we wanted to have if we wanted to maintain a 5th rank lifestyle in a 3rd rank community, that community is not a high enough rank to provide those commodities to maintain an aristocratic lifestyle. It's just a town with like 400 people. Give me a break. You have to establish a trade route with a location that can provide that 5th rank level of aristocratic lifestyle. You're basically importing caviar and gold laced pillows and shit in this little quaint town, but you've built a pipeline that brings those materials so I can maintain my 5th level lifestyle in this first rank, like in this tiny little hamlet. There's like 40 people there, but they're all aristocrats. So they have this massive trade line coming in, giving them everything that they need from the coast. That is like a great reason for bandits to start attacking that trade route, to take that 5th rank resource. Oh my god, this is so rich. I love it. That establishes an in-reason system in games, like where are the trade routes coming and going, what is their value, and how dangerous would it be to attack, like if pirates want, if bandits wanted to attack that trade caravan, it has the defenses needed for 5th rank. So it has like ballistas and war horses and a combat mage hauling potential million gold piece worth of value of materials that could just make a massive impact on anyone that could steal it, but it just gets absorbed by these rich people. It's just another day to them because they have the momentum of that commerce working with them. It's just a river that flows, and anyone that comes along and tries to disrupt the flow causes splash. So that's the idea, and it's all resolved with just a single die roll. A die roll to determine your lifestyle, what's the wealth level of the community. Each bastion and home and person in that community has to make their own lifestyle check to see, in this aristocratic environment, how much can I get? So as long as I hit at least a DC 10, I'm doing okay. I'm poor, but I'm not on the street. And if you roll on this like below 10 too often, everything breaks down. Like your bastion goes bankrupt. You have to build a new one. In a settlement, the food runs out and people start to riot. All sorts of various complications that can arise when you fail your lifestyle die roll, even if you're maintaining it. So that's the quick skinny of how the mechanic, like how this game system works. And it's all very, like, once you understand how the system works, it's incredibly intuitive. And then all of the actual bastion facilities that are in your bastion, if you have a community, like for example, a workshop can be a facility inside of your bastion, like inside your castle somewhere or whatever. Or if you have a settlement, that facility is externalized outside of your bastion, somewhere in the community, the settlement that you're supporting with your bastion as a government. So now you've allowed this workshop to be created in your settlement, and it is operated by an NPC. It could be yours if that's how you spend your points. Yeah, I'm going to make a workshop building in my settlement over there, and that's how I'm spending my bastion point. Or it could be, I'm going to let this guy in, and he's going to put 7 bastion points worth of construction into my town, and now he's gotten up to, like, say 14 points. He now has a 2nd ranked bastion that operates as a workshop and a smithy, and I could hire him to be an armory. If you wanted to, you could tax so that everything that's like second rank bastion or above owes you 1 bastion point per bastion turn. So the city of Waterdeep has 500 bastion points that it can spend on a standing army of 20,000 soldiers that operate as a patrol along the outskirts of the thorps that operate as farming communities that feed Waterdeep. You can have an infinite amount of bastion points by just diving far enough into the system. And that's the DM's solo gameplay. Your players can get involved in that if they want to, but they don't have to. But when you look at it, you can zoom in or scope out at any level of depth into somebody's house, all the way out to, like, what is the nation of Cormyr? How is that operating? Cormyr is where Waterdeep is at. Waterdeep is basically like its own city-state, like borders Cormyr, but technically I believe it's technically a part of Cormyr, and it's an ally. So it's like a sister city to the capital. So it like Cormyr as a nation might have, like, among all the thorps and all the villages, all the towns, cities, and Waterdeep and whatever the capital of Cormyr are, I think those are both metropolises, that entire nation might have 10,000 bastion points worth of commerce operating at any time, but you don't need to worry about any of it until you look at what's on this road, what type of settlements on that road, what's the furthest points, and what are the highest value communities on that chain. Those are probably the two that are actually operating all the commerce. So now you have one trade caravan that can move between both of those and provide material wealth equal to the rank of whichever one of those settlements is the highest rank. So like like Waterdeep isn't going to send, unless it's a ridiculous private order, they're not going to send 5th rank material to a hamlet in the middle of nowhere. They might send it to a town and break that down. That town is then going to break it down to sending resources out to villages and hamlets. So it has this this very pyramid structure, this pyramid scheme of government, where high rank government shifts down to the lower level, smaller and smaller demands. It's super easy for Waterdeep to hit a DC 15 to establish a trade route with a new town that's like 50 miles, 70 miles away from here that needs resources because they found a gold mine. Let's start pumping Bastion points into that and start growing more Bastion's facilities in that settlement so that it can take on the value of finding a gold mine, which will eventually come back to us as a new 5th rank trade route, delivering gold into Waterdeep, like literally. So you see how easy that is? You don't have to think about anything until you ask what's going on here, and then you basically use what is the largest valued settlement in the region. That is your anchor. If it's like 90 miles to the next town, but there's a village 15 miles away, that 2nd ranked village is going to have more influence on what's going on around you than that town 90 miles away. But there could be a trade route between that town and this village that can lead you upstream to higher ranked stuff. So as your characters continue to ascend in level, if they like where they're at, they can then start bringing in a trade route to bring them what they need, or they up and leave and go to the big city where all the stuff that they want is located at. So you see how this economic system, it's just ability checks and weighing it against what's the largest rank of settlement in the region, what's the highest CR creature, which has its own rank system, like a dragon, like an ancient red dragon is going to be a 5th ranked monster. So it's going to have like a 250 mile area of influence, and all the monsters inside of its sphere of influence is at some degree or another going to placate to that dragon because it can eat all of them. But the owlbear in this portion of the woods, it might become the dragon's lunch someday, but until then, it's a 2nd ranked threat. And any village or hamlet is going to be afraid of that thing mauling their horses and their cattle and their sheep, just because it just wants to eat. A dragon could come through and could eat the barracks and everybody that's inside of it. It just cooks them and eats them. And I just lost 8 Bastion points because he ate both of my barracks. And I just lost 7,000 troops. That dragon satiated for a little while, I hope. So I need to build my troops back up. You see how that works? It's a really elegant point-based system that allows you to do anything by spending points to make skill checks at established benchmarks for value, rarity, spell level, CR, gold value, all on that scaling 1 to 5, DC 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, which is the bounded accuracy curve of D&D 5e. It's just D&D doesn't really use it a lot. This is a very structured method of using the 5e game engine as written to execute all of this geopolitical and warfare. All of this stuff can be resolved as ability checks, skill challenges. So I've been rambling about this for literally an hour now. So let's get to work before I run out of time. I can't help. I'm sorry. I run through this every time because I'm writing the book. I'm literally writing the book on how to do this. So I do this as a rote memory sort of process. The more I can explain it to you guys, the more elegant and the more eloquent the conversation becomes, the more efficient I am in explaining these things, which will eventually be able to be ground down into the text and dropped into the book. Here's some cool examples of how this thing works. Kind of like Balderon's Balderon's Guide to Kingdom Building. Adam Hancock, who wrote that book, was my editor for the Spelljammer book and was originally editing this Bastion campaign system. I don't know if he'll be available for me to edit it again, but this is all basically, let's take Balderon's Guide to Kingdom Building and then take it into the Bastion campaign system and rebuild it so it's using orders and Bastion ranks instead of like creating a mock character sheet. So it's a cool book. Balderon's Guide to Kingdom Building is a really cool product on the DMsGuild, and it basically treats settlements as characters. So you have 6 ability scores, and you're making ability checks against stuff. This restructures that idea into there's 7 orders in the Bastion campaign system, and each of those orders has is basically its own proficiency. So and we use the Bastion, the hirelings in the Bastion to establish one of your bonuses, and then the rank of your facility to be basically your proficiency modifier. And in that sense, it's still just an ability check. So that was the roots of these things, and we used those ideas in the Spelljammer book. So I already had a lot of work, a lot of practice using Balderon's Guide in the 5e game engine, but we want to simplify it so that it's more narrative with enough crunch on the bones for it to provide a stable structure that once you understand how to use it, you can make up your own things. Like you might want to, like for example, you could use, instead of using the attack action to deal damage to another Bastion in warfare, you could have psychics using the research action to try to get into the minds of the people in that Bastion and possess them or drive them crazy or make them bleed out of their ears using psychic attacks without actually going to the Bastion at all. And that might be framed as an empower, as the empower order, or as the research order, or even as the recruit order. Like all 3 of those could work instead of just issuing a command to attack. But the end result would be the same. But the narrative is completely different, and you're going to have to come up with different ways to solve that or to ward off that threat. That's just the narrative. Like if Dimir and Azorius in the Ravnica campaign setting, the Azorius are literal mind police that are scanning thoughts for crime, while Dimir is actively using mind cloaks to hide the fact that they're committing crime underneath Azorius's nose. So they have a constant war going, a psychic war going on between their minds to try to conceal, Dimir concealing who they really are and hiding what they're trying to do, while Azorius is trying to peel off those layers of psychic shielding to peel through your identity to find out who you really are and what you're trying to do so that they can get you. So that is a psychic war that could be waged using this Bastion system, where the orders that you're issuing are dealing psychic damage to the network of the Azorius Senate in this area, which is going to prompt them to take retaliatory efforts. Somebody is attacking our firewall. We need to throw up antibody defenses to keep the psychic network intact, for example. You could do a Ghost in the Shell campaign this way incredibly easily. So it's just a very versatile system. So having said all that, let's get into what we're actually here to do today, shan't we? Thanks a lot for humoring me on this, guys. I love the Dominion style of play, and I am utterly thrilled that the Bastion system is such an elegant vehicle to be able to utilize that idea of skill challenges and ability checks to resolve this stuff. Oh man, it's so cool. So let's go down to here's all the Bastions that we built. Like here's the community of Redstone. And since a settlement is basically an inside-out bastion, these are the general types of facilities that are located in this town. And here's the current orders that they're operating. Like everyone always maintains, they have a comfortable lifestyle right now in this community. Good for them. And they're investing all of their orders into harvesting additional crops and gathering iron ore to try to build a pocket of food for themselves, and to get additional commerce on hand so they can trade with other communities in case they need help. If more crops keep dying, they might have to import food from Brayland. So that's something they have to keep an eye out for. So these guys are workhorsing to produce commodities and food to protect themselves. The unique bastions, there's unique bastions in each settlement. There's always a governing bastion like we were talking about. And so for the instance of in the instance of Redstone, the community of Redstone, they're iron miners. The capital of Redstone is Goli Fort. Its key primary facility that defines Goli Fort, we rolled on our table, and it came up as an armory. So they have 2 armories, which means they can make shitloads of weapons, shitloads of arrows, lots of armor. They can help produce siege weapons if this is something that the team wants to tap into. They can potentially build fighter craft or more mecha to support their troops. It has, you can see here, it has the government and settlement at 2nd rank. That's the size of the settlement, 2nd rank, with a population between 100 and 1,000 right here. And it's got sets of barracks in here. You can see here that the population has its own barracks, 80 out of potential 100 in the barracks, but Goli Fort has its own contingent of barracks of soldiers as well. It's a fort, so, and it has a pub for drinking and stable for horses and stuff. These are the things that are significant about Goli Fort. These are the things that are significant about Redstone. Redstone is an extended, basically an extension of Goli Fort, and in Redstone, as additional as standalone structures, there's the mining refinery, which takes care of the ore coming in. It has a workshop, smithy, armor, storehouses, laboratory, scriptorum. These are all things that help. Well, the scriptorum helps protect with spell glyphs of protection, but the rest of these are all about processing mineral materials and storing it for commerce and trade. So this is basically this is a workhorse, the refinery. But there's also the Druidic Seed Sanctuary, which is 2nd rank. It's a Druid Grove that helps keep the plants blooming on these asteroids so you can produce enough food to feed everybody. And it has Druid type stuff going on here. But it was also damaged, so some of its orders that it's spending is repairing its barracks and its menagerie right now. And it hasn't stabilized any lifestyle. Its lifestyle right now is actually squalid. They got hit hard by Kaiju recently, so most of their facilities are down. Luckily, they're in a community that can help them, but their sanctuary itself got smacked. And then the other, so that's Crag Falls. So there you go. No, that's Redstone. So we've done Fell Tower. Last week we did Far Hope. And now we're going to build out Scabber Cove, which is only a population of 92. It's a very small rank 1 hamlet. Hey, what's up? Hey, Defected, it's good to see you, my guy. So yeah, Scabber Cove, that's what we're building next. This rack of triangles here, for people that haven't seen this before, this rack of triangles is actually an unfurled D20. See how a D20 has a bunch of triangles on it? 20 of them, in fact. Well, this has 5 up here, 5 here, and then 10 down the middle. This is a 20-sided die that's been flattened. That's a very good one. This is back in the what was it? The Campaign Builder's Guide, which was in 2nd edition. I think it was 2nd edition. Yeah, Campaign Builder's Guide. It was about building continents and oceans and weather systems, and then zoom into a continent to build mountains, forests, river systems, and then zoom in some more to look at the settlements that exist on that continent, and then zoom in to look at like what's in that settlement. That's the same process, but now updated for 5e. So the 20-sided die, we unfurl that. This becomes the space available on the asteroid for us to populate. Let's look at how big is it. It's only 12 miles in size. So it's a 20-sided die. It's 20 miles in size. Let's go to ye old Google real quick and ask the brain. And we'll ask it this way: If an icosahedron, it has a 12-mile diameter, what is the size of each line in the triangles? $12-mile diameter. I know the answer is going to be about 6.2, but we'll look at it here just because I know it's roughly half. Answer: the size of each line in the triangles, the edge length, is approximately 6.31 miles. Not bad. So let's go back to our bastion here as a triangle. And we know that on this asteroid, each line is going to be roughly 6 miles. So I could reduce the size of this so that one triangle per square is roughly 5 or 6 miles. I could do it like this. Or what I think I'd rather do is expand it so each triangle occupies 3 squares and each square is 2 miles. This, therefore, is the size of Scabber Cove. Scabber Cove has 2 miles. It's 2 miles per square. $2 miles per square. Now let's go back into our list. Bloop. Put that out of the way. Fix my screen. My screen's off a little. There we go. Let's see. Let's fix our screen. So let's go back into our Bastion document and go back to our settlements. Where's my settlements? Thank you. This is front end Bastion points. Oh, that's right. We scrolled up. Let's scroll down. We'll talk about facilities, like specific facilities, another day. I just want to stay on course here. Maybe we'll talk about when we finish this community. Maybe that'll be our reward for finishing this last community. Population. Here we go. Rank. Harvesting materials. Sample structures. Here we go. Okay, so we have... we have 92 people in Scabber's Cove. And once we get to a population of 100, once we get over 100 people, like a population of 101 or better, that's when we're in second rank. So here's how all your Bastion points proceed. With 1 Bastion point, we have to have at least 1 person in our trade post, or our Kevin Costner Tatanka mail post office on the edge of the Great Plains, where there's basically just a fort in this post office. So the postman, that was it. Kevin Costner's the postman. Thank you. So 1 point, 1 guy, up to 10 people. It's still going to require a 5-mile area to secure that as your space. But as long as you have up to 10 people, it's 1 Bastion point. We have, what was it, 92? I'm on the wrong screen. Yeah, we have 92. So for us to have 92 people, that'll be a range of 91, 71, 80, 81. Hold on. 1. Come on, Derpy. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 81. There we go. So 91 to 100 people. It's going to require a 9-mile radius area. So basically 9 miles in every direction to have enough space to grow food and stuff. Whatever the food is, whether it's orchards or crops or pastures for animals, or it can be water, like for fishing. As long as it's a 9-mile radius area that you can populate and harvest for materials, your population can stay fed. So that means we have 10 Bastion points. And then you see how it rolls over? At 11 Bastion points, we still have a population up to 100, but now we're second rank because we rolled into 11 points. So now that population of 100 people, it was first rank, and now when we add in that extra Bastion point, those 100 people are now second rank. And now at 12 points, it's 101 to 200, 200 to 300, 300 to 400, blah, 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 to 1,000 points. And then you add on that 1 point, those 1,000 people roll over into third rank. Sorry, this was first rank, yeah, second rank, third rank. They roll over into third rank here now. And then at 22 points, you're now building your population at third rank. So it has this weird stutter step in the middle here, but it works. You gain population, and then the population hits critical mass, and it evolves into a higher rank community. And now that it's higher rank, it can absorb more Bastion points, so the population continues to grow with it. So this is that breaking point, that little buffer zone, where if we lose a Bastion point here we're still going to be okay. If we lose another Bastion point here, although we still have our population, we've been depleted. So we're going to operate as though we're one rank lower until we can have that Bastion point repaired by issuing an order, a maintain order to repair your shit. So population of 92, that means 10 Bastion points. And so if we go in here and we look at Scabber Cove, it should have 10 points, not 9. So let me fix that. 10 points, and it has a pocket of, it had a pocket of 4 Bastion points, but it's currently using them to make repairs. So we don't have them list. Maintain lifestyle, rated by second. That's right. We fell into a squalid lifestyle. We got raided by pirates. We lost 6 points. So we're now issuing orders to. We have to repair those points. So we ate up. Well, we took 6 points. So out of our pocket, we ate 4 of them. So of the 6 damage that the raiders did, we took 4 points of our spare points out of our pocket, and then we dealt 1 point of damage to our gardens and 1 point of damage to our stables. Gardens generally represent like farming, herding, that sort of stuff. But since we recalibrated these point values last time, so we technically have a pocket of 5, but we're going to exhaust all 5 of them, and in doing so, we're going to get our garden back. So that'll help us with the fishing. Scabber Cove is all about fishing. Its harvest materials is fishing. The fun thing about Spelljammer is that the asteroids where different creatures can live, they can either be aerial or they can be aquatic, because in the astral sea, you can fly or swim. So if you have a fly speed or a swim speed, you can navigate through space. If you have a walking speed, you're SOL. So you in this in the Scabber's Cove, it's named Scabber's Cove. And let me get into it. Bloop, there we go. Drop down here to Scabber's Cove. There's a number of small, Scabbers, if you have to be at least 10 miles in diameter to have spherical gravity. And Scabber's Cove is only 12-mile rock, so it has spherical gravity, which makes living life normal. But in close orbit to it, there's a number of smaller asteroids, less than 10 miles in size, that are in close orbit to Scabber's Cove, but are just outside of its influence well. It occupies a 12-mile space, so Scabber's Cove is in a 20-mile square. And anything outside of that 20-mile square is basically free from its gravitational influence and won't get pulled down. So if there's a bunch of rocks, here I'll show you. Let's go to the spell. I just want to show this off to you guys real quick because I think it's cool. So let's go to the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration document here. And let's pop open the free preview. Where's my free preview? There it is. Preview button. This will open the entire document. We're going to scroll down to the end of the exploration chapter here. Okay, so check this out. So it's got the sample written over, but there you go. Gravity fields. Clusters of objects without... Here, let's zoom in. Clusters of objects without spherical gravity drifting together naturally align their gravity planes over time as they collide and shift about into fields. Rings surrounding a planet are examples of rocks or other debris smaller than 10 miles in diameter that can align in the same gravity plane that occupies the space surrounding the planet beyond the influence of spherical gravity. In the illustrations to the left and below, well, here's the actual illustration that I painted. This is an asteroid. This is a ring belt that surrounds this planet. So that's our ring world around this planet, and here is a map that depicts it. The planet is A. The orbit of material, the ring that orbits around it in planar gravity. A small 800-mile planet A occupies a 1,000 miles square with rings of rock ranging from 50 feet to 5.5 feet, which was D10 miles, in size, which is B. So this is a 1,000 miles square. The planet is 800 miles occupying it. Adjacent to the planet's space is the asteroid belt that forms a ring around it that is outside of the spherical gravity pulling them to the planet, but not big enough to create spherical gravity themselves. So they all eventually flatten out into just a plane that has a top side and a bottom side, and you can operate on both sides of them. This is sufficient space for vegetation. Occupies 1,000 miles square with rings of rock ranging from 50 feet to 5 some odd miles in size. This is sufficient space for vegetation and communities to take root. Pardon the pun. Water caught in the gravity planes drain into the spaces between the rocks, forming a large river system, and weather on both sides of the ring's gravity plane. So here you can see there's this river that basically flows all around the ring. So it's this just giant canal. Maybe it's broken at points with giant asteroid clusters, but the water's going to filter through, and you can stand on both sides of it. So you can dive through the water and swim to the other side, or you can like take a ladder or something and climb along this edge here to go from one side to the other. But like we have these buildings here. There's buildings on the underside too. We just can't see them, and you can't see them through the water. But that's the idea. So in the Eberron campaign that we're running, the overall orbit of Eberron that we're looking at right here, these are 10,000 mile spaces. The planet Eberron is 8,000 miles. It occupies a 10,000 mile space. All of the moons are within 10,000 miles or smaller size as well. So they have spherical gravity, but orbit the planet because it's a planet and moons. That's how planets and moons work. But all these asteroid colonies in between, some of them are large enough to have spherical gravity, so they become small planetoids. But there's tons of other asteroids that are free-floating that aren't that large that have planar gravity, and they naturally bump into and find each other and create these huge fields, these huge gravity fields that create top and lower sides. So Scabber's Cove, when we zoom in, click, zoom in to Scabber's Cove in the community, and then zoom in again, and we're now here. Scabber's Cove is only a 12-mile rock, but it has a whole bunch of like 50 to 500 foot rocks, maybe even 2-mile rocks surrounding it that all create these like little like these aquatic pens that have like coral and all sorts of like marine life growing in them that are caught inside that gravity plane. And then there's scabbers that can fly, and they can pass through this water and grab at fish and stuff in the water and then come out the other side and fly back off into space and not necessarily have to stay there. But we call it Scabber's Cove because there's a bunch of scabbers in this region. If they go to the actual planet here, the creatures, scabbers are sharks, they swim. So once they exit once they enter spherical gravity, all they can do is fall to the planet. They can't swim out again. They can only fall to the planet. So scabbers, once they get into the gravity plane of the planetoid, they fall to the ground. And unless they hit water, they're basically going to die because they can't. They're basically stuck. They can flop along like at a 5-foot movement speed, and they'll eventually get stabbed to death by natives and then eaten. So the scabbers that exist out in the surrounding asteroid chain, the rings that are around Scabber's Cove, they're smart enough to know to stay away from spherical gravity and just feed on the unnatural water and flying creatures that exist inside of these coral structures, that these Spelljammer sea systems. That's the idea. So we'll have we'll plot this one out, and then we'll build like a little orbit thing around it. So we know from the document here. Hopefully this stuff makes sense. If you have questions about this stuff or you're interested, my Discord community is free access. It's right here. Jump in. If you want to try using this stuff for your own campaign, I can coach you on how to set it up and how to process your turns. If you're a player that's interested in this style of game, I'll be running a playtest for level 5 to 14, probably towards the tail end. I'm thinking in like tail end of March, maybe beginning of April, and then we'll run on Saturdays. So if you're interested, let me know. But thanks a lot to everybody that's been drifting through. I really appreciate you guys. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we're live in the future. And we just keep doing this stuff. So we know that we need 9 miles diameter for the 92 people that we have. 9 miles diameter. Let's plot that out. Let's just say Scabber's Cove is, well, let's export this real quick. If each, we need a 9 mile, that's 18 miles wide. So if we have an 18 mile block, that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is the amount of space that we need for farming or fishing or gathering, gathering from forests. This is the size of area that we need in 2 miles. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So at the center of this, right here, this is where our population center, like the rural center of Scabber's Cove. If I don't have enough space on the asteroid itself, we already talked about how there's other like there's a belt, there's a ring that's basically orbiting around Scabber's Cove. And so there's going to be all sorts of asteroids that are floating in here. So all of these squares can count as areas that we can send fishing boats into to harvest coral and kelp and fish and seaweed and gather fish and all that other stuff. It becomes an economy that's going to mostly be relying on fishing or aquatic stuff. So we're going to do a little bit of we're going to do some fields and then a lot of fishing. So that's the idea. So I'm going to break this thing up into these triangles. So let's do that by overlaying. So I can take this, I can cut it and then paste it and then overlay. So I know I'm going to be okay. I want to rework this just a little bit. Each square is 2 miles. It's a 12-mile rock. Let's shift it down to, how can we make this work? I'm trying to make the triangles fit inside the lines. There we go. That sits pretty nicely. So we have we only have 1, 2 here. So we have our asteroid community here. So let's start cutting up our asteroid into chunks. So I can come along here and I can strip this away, cut, paste, and I can put this here. It goes like that. This goes like this. Now we can carve this away. And this, cut, paste, free transform, rotate 180. Like that. Cut. Why are you frozen? Oh, because I drew on that. I didn't actually select it. Derp. So here, like this. Cut. Paste. This is how much area we still need to resolve. That area is resolved, so this entire central strip of the equator of the asteroid has been resolved, has been absorbed, and we get 1, 2, 3, 4. We basically get 4 squares per section there. I'm going to take this. I'm going to chop that off and bring it over here. So basically we have a 4 square here that occupies this triangle. I'm going to break this up into squares like this. And we're going to cut this stuff free. Cut, paste. This becomes a remnant. And so this is the amount that we're going to need. We're going to have to find a home for that, which we can. But for now, we're going to grab these and go... Oops. Like this. Export all of these. Like that. There. There. Like this. There. So this asteroid is this little 12-mile planetoid is covered. So now we have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have a 10-mile strip that we need to find a home for. So this is Scabber Cove, deconstructed and flattened out. Again, we were talking about icosahedron, the D20. That's a bunch of triangles, and it's been flattened out into this structure. We had to completely cover the entire landmass to accommodate the amount of land that this guy needs to cover, and we still need 10 more miles. So we know that it has a 12-mile diameter, and in this representation, each square is 2 miles. So 12-mile diameter is 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6. So this is the diameter and size of the asteroid that we're on. And that's it, flattened out. And the asteroid belt, like we were looking at, we were looking at it. We were just looking at in Spelljammer. We know that the asteroids that are in orbit around the planetoid with its spherical gravity, if the asteroids were closer to the planet, then they would fall to the planet. As long as they're right outside the gravity of the planet itself, they can stay in orbit around it, which we could represent like this. And we could where am I at? Yeah. Scabber Cove. And now we're going to let's build some asteroids around this. So we're going to build our orbiting asteroid system. We don't want we can't have generally the rings are going to be half the diameter, so we could have 1, 2. We can basically have asteroids going out to here before they're too far away from the planet that they would drift away. So half the diameter of the planet is the distance that rings can be from a planet. 1, 2, 3. That's here. So the box is like this. I only need 10 squares in this entire field. I only need 10 squares to be available for fishing, for this to be viable. But for every extra square that we use in orbit to harvest food, we can free up a square on the actual rocks. We don't have to have the entire rock being cultivated, the entire surface of it. That's a bad idea. So we're going to diversify and have most of the work actually being done in the asteroid belt, in the ring that orbits around Scabber's Cove, so that we can free up Scabber's Cove to remain lovely and nice, not being completely worked land. You see? So we're going to set up a number. Anything that's smaller than 10 miles in size has planar gravity, not spherical gravity. But considering the size of Scabber Cove, what is this complex altogether? Looking at 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 24, 20, 22, 24. So this basically occupies a 25-mile square space overall. I mean, you know, like circles of squares, like this might technically be like this, but I'm not going to sweat the small stuff. I don't want any single asteroid to be more than 4 miles in size. In fact, that might be too big. Yeah, we're gonna do that. I'm gonna roll a D4 to see. I'm gonna roll a D3 plus 1 to see how many asteroids of 4 miles in size are in orbit around this. We're gonna just start building a little asteroid belt ring around this thing. Does that sound like fun for you guys? I think it's super. I love doing this shit. This is peak DM solo work right here, right now. I love doing this stuff. You're watching me basically, this whole stream has been basically game prep and explaining the mechanics that go behind it. So on my D3 plus 1, I rolled a 3. So I now have 4 asteroid communities. I don't think I'm going to make them all like this. I can afford to take chunks out of them. Let's do it. Let's do an asteroid like this. But basically it has to occupy this 4-mile space. That, and we'll put another one. Let's put a smaller one like this, and then like another one. Let's put another one over here, and then we'll do. Let's say we do 20. Let's do a D20 worth of asteroids that are 2 mile area, and I rolled an 11. So I'm going to put 11 asteroids in place. I'm going to start clustering them together. So I'm going to think about this curve here. So I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. How about that? I'm going to actually shift these around a little bit. And then let's do these 1 mile scale. Those little ones are 1 mile. I'm going to do 2d12 to see how many 1 mile asteroids there are. And I rolled a 4. So I'm going to put 4 asteroids, 3 to 5 around each of these larger ones. So we're going to put one there. I'm going to put one here, and one here. I'm going to put, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just going off of feelings. 1, 2, 3. Let's put this one here. 4. I got 1. I'll go 1, 2, and we'll just leave those at 2. And let's leave this one like that. This one's got 2. This one feels good. This one feels good. Okay, cool. So we did that. Now let's be cheeky, and we're going to add a new layer. It's blue. So now we're going to create little pockets. I'm going to do it like that. And put that third one there. See what's happening here? So that is a grotto in orbit around Scabber's Cove. Just like we were showing in the Spelljammer book, this cluster of asteroids have congregated together, and this water is basically hanging in that space. So that means that we're going to have some smaller little rocks here that are basically orbiting and keeping it intact. Like that, roughly. So that's how you block these things in. And then we can have like another asteroid over here and just some free floating stuff here. Here's our next asteroid community over here. That. Start fanning out from there, just filling in these little asteroids. These are all 1 mile asteroids, and we can have any, I mean, we can just build some quick, easy asteroid templates for ground space at basically any time that we want. And then we're going to go back here. We're going to add these in here like this. And then we'll put another rock in here like that, and then another rock like this, here and here and here and here, here and here, packing them together. I think we could have like another one here, and then here and here, here and here and here and here. There, block that in. Block those in like that, and then like that. Another one here and here, and then here and here and here and here. That feels pretty good. Yeah, let's have these things spill out like that so it starts to like aerate the area. I like that idea a lot. Let's punch some holes in this stuff so there's drift. Like that. So this is be bleed. So like over here, it's like closer over here. This is where like all the coral and the dense growth stuff is around the rocks, but in the spaces between, it just bleeds out into space. It's like a Scabber would come in through here instead of dive bombing straight down into the water. it would coast in off space and just drift into the water and just be able to mess around here and then just drift back out again. That creates an interesting combat scenario if we have to fight Scabbers at some point. Like if a large migration of Scabbers comes in and starts eating up everything and threatening the fishermen, that's something that's going to need to get resolved. This is drifting out, like that's a block point there, so this just bleeds out. You see how that works? Is this all making sense? This one's my favorite community. I'm glad to be doing this one last because I love this stuff. So we can, let's trim this off and trim that away. And here, let's get rid of those points. Danku. All right, let's stretch this stuff out. See, there's gonna, like, here's a square. This is a harvestable square. So I'm going to need a total of 10. I need at least 10 of these squares out here, and I can keep filling in water to make that happen for me as I please. So like I get 2 squares out of this area. I need 5 more for everything to be covered. I'm just gonna let that drift out like that. And then let's go back down here and let's empty those out. Let's make this a little bit more natural feeling. Yeah, I'm boxing these in too much. Let's get rid of that. And nah, you can stay in place. I like you. This is now going to bleed out into space like this. And this is going to bleed out like this. So there's like coral reefs and like all along the edge. Since this is planar gravity, it's up and down, not spherical. We can have all sorts of coral and plankton and stuff growing along the sides of these asteroids that have all this life that's basically free floating and growing in between there. But everywhere along an edge of an asteroid that is inside of this water space, that becomes like a haven for all sorts of like clownfishes and sea anemones and stuff like that to be able to grow and sprout inside of this region. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to actually have this fade so that water drifting is a planar gravity. So spherical gravity pulls things to it. Planar gravity pushes things away from it. So things naturally will drift away unless they're encapsulated like in this cluster here, there's like a lot of density here. So water is going to flow away in this direction. But some of it's leaking out in this direction. But all of the, like this area here, that's encapsulated enough by enough sides that it being flat, it kind of drifts out, but at a certain point, it's only drifting so thin. So you have like this shore of not shallower water, but thinner. It becomes a mist. Somewhere out here, it just becomes a mist. But plants, like creatures, can swim and move around all inside of this area without any kind of problems. Like here's 2 squares of space. Here's 2 squares of space. Here's like another square of space. Here's another square of space. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we can like grow here if we wanted. 7. Thank you. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So now we can take 5 occupied area, like 5 squares off of this map. Once we get to 10, once we get 10 here, every extra square that we start harvesting here reduces the amount of harvesting that needs to happen here. So that's going to be to our advantage eventually. But let's keep building this out. Hopefully you guys think this stuff is fun. Drift out. Let's go over here and have this drift out. And leak through there. Drift out. Drift out. Drift out. Like that. Hug this all in here. So it would make sense. Oh, and by the way, since this is up and down, each one of these squares actually counts as 2 squares of harvestable space, because on the other side of it, you could have crops on this side and you can have crops on this side, so you can kind of like double dip the space. And it has all, so like we could have like a fishing community here next to a bunch of farmers in this 2-mile block, and you have like a little fisherman nightshade colony over here that like once a month they gather up all their, like they have their fish market, they send stuff down to the surface. It's only like a 10-minute ride to get from here to here, to land someplace here to drop off fresh fish on the surface of the planet, then go back out. Super easy. Any small craft, like anything up to 50 feet, could easily do that, and only cost like 600 gold to make that ship. So all sorts of like little fisherman skiffs with limited jammer drives on them can be trawling around in this area. Let's keep that going. Timer. 8:30. Yeah, we're doing great. We're almost done. Good timing tonight. So yeah, we're gonna have this water drift out into orbit outside of its little asteroid clusters. Like we can put another shock of water in here, and that'll drift out. Like here's another good spot for another grotto. You can have that drift out. Though the water only has 1 mile, like each square is 2 miles, and like so this watermark here, since you can go on either side of it to dip into it, this is only worth 2 miles of space. But this like I was saying, this asteroid here is planar, has flat gravity. So the top side and the bottom side of it both have 2 miles of land that can be used to cultivate. The main staple, since it's only a first-rank community, it only has one major staple that it can harvest, and you're either harvesting plants, animals, or minerals. And in this instance, these guys are harvesting animals, but incidentally, like there's, like people are growing okra and potatoes and mushrooms and stuff like that out here, but the main, like it's known for its seafood. Like Crag Falls is known for its second rank. So it has 2 major materials it can harvest. And this one, and Crag Fall has mining electrum and sheep herding. So it has animal and mineral materials that it can provide for production. To make anything in the player's handbook, you have to have a mix of plant, animal, and mineral materials. We don't specify specific, we don't make specific about like what those materials are. it's kind of like once you have like second rank materials, anything that requires metal or stone to make up to 400 gold pieces in value, that second rank mineral resource will provide what's needed to make that item. If you want to be specific about what that mineral is, then you can just, like, these people have very unique weapons. Like, these people use obsidian for their weapons because they don't have access to iron, because that's not one of the materials that they have access to. So, like, they build things differently. But you can still, as long as you have the materials listed in the Bastion, again, all these are linked down here. These are all the documents that we're using to do this stuff. And just as an example, let's look at one of the Bastion Campaign. And let's go to the back of the book. Here's literally every magic, every mundane item in the player's handbook, and all the categories of magic items as well. So let's just stop. Smith's tools. They're common they're common value items because Smith tools cost, I think, 50 gold pieces, maybe 25, one or the other. Smith's tools, 20. Artisan tools are 50. No, artisan tools are 50, and like things like cartographer kits and special things can be 50. So these are well within the 100 gold threshold of a common item. To make Smith tools, we need to have access to up here is the item, its rarity, the materials that you need, and what facilities can be issued the craft order to make them. So back down to the where was it? The kit. Smith's tools. There we go. Smith's tools. Common as a common item, so we only have to be first rank to make them. And it requires all materials, so basically any materials. You have to have access to plant materials for like leather binding and like parchment or whatever. Smith tools, like metal to making the tools, is the mineral component of it, and like the animal component. Animals like leather, and then like the plant material might be like fat, like felt on the inside of the box or the Smith tools or whatever, blah blah blah. Anyway, you can make Smith tools in a smithy or a workshop, a first rank, and to make them is only a DC 10. So if you don't have access to Smith tools and you have an armory, a smithy or a workshop, you can make those basically in a day. We'll make you tools. Here you go. So that's how that shit shakes out. So everything in the book is listed here, the type of materials that are needed, its rarity, which determines its gold value, and what the item is. And what, like for example, a halberd. It's less than 100 gold, so it's a common item. A halberd generally requires mineral for the metal and plant for the wooden shaft. But you can make it all out of just metal if you wanted. You can as long as you can describe what are you making this thing out of. If you have that thing, you can do it. I can make an all metal halberd if I wanted. I could make an all plant halberd if I wanted. You can sharpen edges. They don't hold the edge for long, but you can, like, there's razor vine in D&D. There's like Otiug teeth, shambling mounds. They'll have like these little razor ridges for teeth, like quote unquote teeth that they use to masticate stuff. So you could technically make a halberd out of an Otiug. Well, an Otiug's an animal. You could technically make an Otiug like out of a yellow creeper or a shambling mound if you wanted to. You just describe what you're doing. In that sense, like a druid that doesn't want to use metal could make some sort of like could make a breastplate or splint mail in a second rank facility that would, like, say only use plants and animals. So it's gonna be made out of bone and sinew with no metal. We have those options. And you would still use either an armory or a smithy to make the thing. But you could decide, well, since it's druid and it's only plants, you could make it in a workshop or a laboratory or a sanctuary. You could decide those things are available. These are just the default settings for what these things are. So everything is in this appendix here. So it's all covered. So if you have a smithy, you can go down the line. And when we build this, once we actually publish this, There's going to be in the download folder for people that buy it. We'll have like an Excel worksheet that you'll be able to change the order. Like I want to search for things in the smithy, so you can hit the smithy button and it'll sort everything. Like here's all the stuff that the smithy can make, stuff like that. Pretty basic, a decent editable spreadsheet for you to go in and make changes to and be searchable like that. So did I just run out of music? Yes, I did. I've outlasted my music, so let's renew that. There we go. All right, so that's that. So let's go back to, oh yeah, we're just painting water spilling out. And all we have to do is, once we finish spilling the stuff out, we'll look at where are the high density water areas. We'll make those harvestable areas, and then we'll be done with this community. So I do game design like this on Mondays and Thursday nights, as well as Saturday mornings. We do artwork for the books that I publish on Monday through Friday in the morning for about an hour and a half, assuming everything's working properly. This morning was a train wreck. OBS wouldn't work for me at all. It took an hour for me to figure out how to get it up and running again. So I barely had any time to do artwork this morning. But I'm glad that we figured it out. And this turned on without a problem this evening. So I was thrilled at that. But yeah, so we're building out this water that is in orbit around the asteroid like this. I'm going to spill it out here, and it spills out here. Anything that gets too close to the planet falls like rain. That's how that happens. Here's another good place to have another water cluster kind of bunch up together. Nice. This kind of spills out. I like this. Takes a little time to do it, but very entertaining. There we go. I'm really motivated. I'm excited to update the 2020 the color mana spell point variant rules to the 2024 rules, but I actually think the Bastion system is more useful. Like I'm a huge MTG D&D nut. Like that is just the apple of my eye. The color mana system that we built for spellcasting. It is in the Bastion and the martial power system on top of it, so that all character classes use a unified color mana system to build your characters. It's so perfect for MTG settings. Literally perfect. Like, that was the intent. But I think there's more value to the community to prioritize the Bastion campaign. So the spell point system already exists, and it's not going anywhere. It can just improve with the new updates. But this is new tech. This is completely new tech that I'm seeing every day on Reddit. People asking, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this thing? It's like, do this, do all of this, do this. But I need to build it out and complete it so that I can publish it. And everything I publish is 100% free preview. So once it's out there, you'll be able to grab the free sample. But it's going to be chock full of all my art. Once we get done building the book, we'll be doing page layouts and the book cover and all the edits for that book. And it'll probably take 8 months or so for us to actually be able to build it all out. But I'm really excited to do it. So I think I'm going to have to prioritize the Bastion campaign as my first 2026 actual project. I'll be working on the color mana system as well. And so I'll get to a point where I'm in art production. I need to get this into art production ASAP though, because once the Eberron adventure is done, my artwork Mondays open up for whatever. And I'd like that whatever to be the interior artwork for this book. So I'm going to have to prioritize it. I'm going to have to fucking pitter patter get at her. I got stuff. I got stuff to do. I got a lot of books to do it. I got what is it? I got the idea for over 1,000 books, but I've only got like 30 years left to do it, at best. So no time for love, Dr. Jones. I got to get to work. Spread that out and keep milking this out. Takes a little while to do this smudge work, but I think it'll be worth it when we're done. When we'll be done. Hiccups. Excuse me. There, like that. Push this out. I wanted to do this to get a sense of, like, pardon the pun, but a sense of space for these things. Like I can drop a good water spot here, and then push it out from there. These are just the asteroids that are big enough to see at this scale, and this is each square is 2 miles. So this is a large area, but when we zoom in, we'll be able to have like all sorts of like little asteroids like this dotting that create these anchor points for the water to cling to. We don't have to be exact. I just want to be thick and thorough. Stress that out. Almost done. There we go. So thanks for everyone that's been drifting through and checking out this project. It's been an utter joy to create this stuff. And I think we need to break this up a little. No, we're going to leave that. Yeah, that's right. We're going to leave that be. Do we have a... Oh, we're going to have water spilling out through here for sure. Oops, wrong layer. We're going to thin this out. I want this to be like just all solid in here, but that's not realistic. It's gonna thin out, so that's why I'm pushing all this stuff around like this so much, because the water's gonna leak out and you know, disperse as water does. It's the natural thing for it to do. There we go. And it's only along the horizon line that these rings exist, because they naturally gravitate to that center point. They aren't a cloud surrounding the planet. It's a ring. It's a linear ring that orbits around the planet. Go a little bigger. Thin it down a little. There we go. And then we want to disperse this out. So for a boat to be able to operate inside this area, it doesn't need to have a spelljamming helm. It's literally just bobbing on the water. It's like normal fishing. They only need 1 or 2 carrier ships to come through and grab up everybody's stuff and then take it down to the planet and then hop back out. So we'll probably put the way station on this asteroid, because that one looks like it's the biggest. So that's where we'll drop this. But we're almost done with this. Let me finish dispersing this water so we can see where the strong points, like the dense areas are that would be good for actually fishing. So spread this out a little bit more. And just to demonstrate it, so this is the Eberron orbit as a whole. We were looking at this earlier. This is the square that the characters' settlements are occupied in. Zooming into that square specifically, all of these asteroids here are generating enough fresh air for this large clear air ribbon spot here to provide a mutual atmosphere that the asteroids are literally hanging inside of the atmosphere. So all throughout, all of, like the Scabber's Cove down here, all of this area has oxygen. Like all of this, you can just drift. You know, I'm drifting through space. And you can like drift from one asteroid to another that way. It's 500 miles per square, so it'll take a while, and you'll probably die for some stupid reason. But you can literally just jump off a rock and just drift, as long as it doesn't have spherical gravity. If it has spherical gravity, it'll pull you to the Earth, and you'll die from falling like usual. But if you're just drifting through space and you bump into one of these flat plane asteroids, you'll be able to glom onto the side and climb up on it and be able to walk around. I don't remember why that was important to me. Almost there. Stay on target. Just a little pinch more, and we're going to be good. There we go. Not bad. So that is the ring of water and supporting asteroids that are in orbit, and it has coral reefs and krill and clownfish and sea anemones and sea stars and all that shit are all along the edges of the asteroids or floating in the water between them. So this is you can just take your rowboat and just drop it into the water, and it'll just bob there in zero gravity along the water line. And the water line is here. Well, maybe not literally there. Let's fix it. Yeah, that's the water line that floats across like that. That, and that, and that, that, and that. Keep that. Burp, burp, burp. Thank you, Timely Timer. There's our water line. Let's drop down here and erase this little bit here. So the amount of land that we need for harvesting food is the entire size of this icosahedron plus 10 more squares. So let's start building out where our food centers are at. I'm going to start in the water, and then we're going to go back down to the surface. I'm going to erase all of this business. Let's do this. That's one. Here's another one. Two. Here's a good one. Three. I need 10 of these minimum to be able to get things resolved, and then we go into bonus time. So that's 1, 2, 3. Here's another one. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's 16 squares that we have in orbit that we are using as active fishing grounds to provide food for the community as a whole. So that's 16, and then so we need 6 less on the surface. So let's work it like this. Fair enough. Let's do that. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I want to bring this down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I want 15 more squares out in orbit so that I can trim this down so that only actually along this equatorial region in here is being used for farmland and like harvesting and shit in general, because mostly we're looking at doing farming. Fish is its main commodity. So I need to find a way to get another. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I need 14 more squares, technically. So let's see what I can do to get Can I get 14 more squares? Jesus. Let's find out together. And we'll short up where we can, pardon the pun. So 14 means I need 7 squares in orbit because these flat planes, these aren't spheres. These are flat. So I can farm on the top side and I can farm on the downside. So if I need 14 squares total, I only need 7 of them out here in orbit because I can double dip each square. So let's see if I can. I'm going to call this one 1. This will be, we'll call this one, that'll be 2. That's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And this one's a little off, but we'll give it to you. There's 14. Those are the squares that we needed. Now we're going into bonus time. That's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, yeah. 12. Let's call that one 13. We'll call this one 14, 15, 16. Anything else? 18. Wow. Okay. 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. There we go. So the community only needs this much of the land for themselves to grow crops or harvest wood or whatever on. To have sufficient food for this to be self-sufficient. Drop that opacity a little bit. Let's see. So let's put some forest on this guy. We'll go like, let's go like this. And then let's put some forest over here. Actually, no, we're going to leave that barren. Let's put the forest up here. Fill that forest stuff in with the green. There we go. Fill this in. And for the most part, they aren't using these woods. Some of this stuff is being dipped into, but they don't need a lot of it. So most of it is being left alone. See, if it's not inside of this space that's being utilized, it's not being harvested. So this is how much land is open and free of use that doesn't need to be harvested right now because of all the work that's being done out here in the asteroid belt. That fills that in, and now let's go back to our water here, and let's create a water point here. I'll put another one in over here. I'm gonna drop the opacity down on this a little bit. I'm gonna put a hill over here. I'm gonna create a little waterway and another little lake over here. Oh, I can't put it there. Excuse me. I have to put it over here. paste. Thank you. Grab this. Oops, hold on. Grab that color, drop it down again. Thank you. A little thicker than that. Thank you. Like that. And then we're going to put another one down here. There we go. And then we're going to put let's see. Let's look at our settlements. 92 people. Governing Bastion. Franchise to Capital Rock. Nice. Okay. So yeah, 92 people total. We got the Fishmonger's Hook. Governing Bastion, 3rd rank. We're going to let's see, Fishmongers. Okay, its primary is the guild hall. Primary facility equals guild hall fisherman. Style, training, guild hall, armory, barracks, settlement. It's only 1st rank. We don't need 3. Oh yeah. Government fisherman does. Let's see, pub. Good. Okay, so that is okay. I want to push this guild hall. I want to push the guild hall to 3, and let's drop. Drop the training area to 1. Okay, so that jives. 92 people. How many people do we need in these facilities? So we need 1 person for 1st rank, 3 people for 2nd rank, 5 for 3rd rank. So we're going to put a line down here. Get out of here, scallywag. There, 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 there. So I need 5, 3, 3, 3. Well, 23 because the mercenaries are included. 5, 1, 1, 1. And that's a lifestyle trade route training area. That is 1. There. So that's 31, 34, 41, 2, 3, 4. So 44 of the 92 people are directly involved with Fisherman's Hook, which is the governing the bastion that has created and inverted their facilities to become a community. Now the next question is, where do we want to put that? I was originally thinking let's have it out in orbit, so it's not actually even on the planet itself. But let's see what else we have going on here. We have Fishmonger's Hook, which is the capital. We have the pub, which is the Sleepy Fish, and we have Hamlet Militia. Oh yeah, and we have a fish archivist and hidden foot stockpiles. 1, 2, 3. Okay, pub. It only has 1 person, the Sleepy Fish. This has 2 people. Lynn's defenses to Hamlet. Oh, it should have 9. A 1st rank barrack can have up to 9 soldiers. A 2nd rank barrack can have up to 100, 1,000, 10,000, and then it can hold multiple garrisons of 10,000 each at 5th rank. That's going to be 2 people. One person here, 2 people there. Fish Archivist. 1, 2, 3. Total of 3 people here. And then the hidden food stockpile. That's going to have 1. That has 2 people. So 2, 5, 7, 8, and 44. That's 52 of the 92. That means there's going to be 40 more that are just loose. So we got 40 loose people. So this is 1. This is 2, 3, 4. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 8. Okay. So 8 times. Let's see. We want population center here. I want a population center here. I want a pop center here. Pop center here. Pop center here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 10 people each. And that's going to be 8 people each. 8, 8, 8, 8. So basically 2 families working like this. Oh yeah, these are only 4 miles. I forgot. These squares are only 2 miles, so I can reduce that to half. So that's going to be 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 20. And we're going to have 4, 4, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So very light, sparse population out here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. Like that. And then let's go back and look again. Yeah, let's do it. Let's put Fisherman's Hook out here. So I can clear those 2 out. And I can drop another one in over here. And another one in over here. And we're going to put... Oh, I'm still using blue. Here we're going to go... 44. And then down here on the surface will be all the little independent ones. We got Fisherman's Hook in orbit. And then we got the Sleepy Fish, the Hamlet Militia, and the hidden food stockpiles. That's going to be 2, 5, 7. That's 8 people here. It's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5. That's going to be number 1. So this is where the fishmongers are at here in orbit, where they're doing all the fishing. Down on the planet side, we have some light farm and woodworking, and there's a pub. There's a garrison. Oh, the fish archivist should be in orbit. Beep, beep, beep-doo. What is that? Number 1 is the fish hunger, then sleepy fish, Hamlet Militia, fish archivist, and then the hidden food stockpiles. That's a total of 5 blips. The fish archivist is number 4, so this should be 2, 3, and 5. The Archivist had how many? It's going to be 5 people here. And then 8. It's number 4. So there you go. So you got 52 people on this stretch of rock. The Fish Archivist that's researching all this stuff, and the Fisherman's Cove, which is the guild of fishermen that are in orbit around here. Here is an individual. These are individual homesteaders here that are working this plot, working this plot, working this plot, working this plot as part of this community folding in, working this plot here. I'm going to actually move this one. Over here. And then down on the surface, we got our farmers, and then we've got our really small hamlet, like basically like an outpost. So there's a line that goes between here and here. Let's switch that back to black so it's visible. And this is like almost literal distance. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. It's like 12 miles to get, well, actually, if I was in orbit, yeah, like if it was like here, so that'd be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So roughly 10 miles away, but you have to fly to be able to get there. There happens to be a herd of Pegasi over by Crag Falls on the other side of the community. Their menagerie is growing, is basically catching, breaking, and taming Pegasi as mounts, and you can use those Pegasi to leave the gravity of Scabber's Cove to drift out here. So there's going to be a lot of Pegasi activity going on out here, and they're going to have, let's say, 2 50-foot haulers. So Pegasi mounts from Crag Fall. 2 times 50-foot haulers using minor helms. Minor helms can a major helm is a rare magic item that costs 4,000 gold. It's a 3rd rank item to create. We don't have any workshops in this cluster that are 3rd rank yet. We don't have a 3rd rank workshop, so we only have a 2nd rank workshop. A minor helm, which can fly up to 50 feet of ship. That's an uncommon magic item, which is only 400 gold in 2nd rank. Up to 500 feet in size for a major spell jamming helm. That is a 3rd rank magic item that costs 4,000 gold per helm, plus the ship itself, which is going to be thousands and thousands and thousands of gold. A 50-foot ship. Let's actually go look at our book again here real quick to see what the actual market value of a 50-foot vessel, a 50-foot cargo ship would be. Go down to the preview section here, and then let's go down to regenerated ships. Here we go. Down here at craft, a warbird. Cost is 1,000 gold pieces. So to make a 50-foot ship that could haul a fuck ton of fish around the area, it's 1,000 gold. That's 3rd rank. So we need a 3rd rank shipyard to make those. We don't have it. We don't have that. So we have to bring ships in. Oh, we can make them, but it's a DC 20, and we don't have any shipyards that are higher than 2nd rank. So we only get a +2 bonus, plus a D6, and they have to hit a DC 20 on a D20. So they can make them, but it takes these workshops. It takes a full month for them to make that, because it's 4 weeks. Second rank is 400 gold. 3rd rank is 4,000 gold. So it takes 3 weeks, 3 bastion turns for a 2nd rank workshop to create a 1,000 gold piece value, because 400 gold is the maximum production value that a 2nd rank workshop can produce in a week, which is equal to a uncommon magic item. So like you can create an uncommon magic item in a week that way. So we can make a 1,000 gold piece ship in a second rank facility in 3 weeks. 1,000 divided by 400 round up. If it was a third rank facility that could do a maximum of 4,000 gold per week, we could easily do we could actually do 4 ships of 1,000 gold piece value, because it equals up to 4,000 gold worth of production. That's within the capacity for that workshop. Make me 50-foot ships. They can make 4 of them in 1 Bastion turn. So, but we don't have a third rank workshop. So if we want more 50-foot ships, it's going to take 3 Bastion turns for us to get each one. And then we have to make the Spelljamming Helm, which is also a second rank item, which is going to be DC 15 as an empower action if we're in... I think a workshop would be able to make those. A workshop and maybe an art... let's go look. Hold on. These would be implements. So let's go look at our book. And let's go look at implements. Magic items, Spelljamming Helm. Is there anything other than, like, a wondrous magic item makes sense, and so also do implements. So you can make implements in a workshop, no problem, but we could also make them, and I think it would be appropriate for the workshop. I think the workshop is probably maybe in the smithy, like the smithy and the workshop. Those are probably the 2 places that would be logical to make wondrous items, and then the workshop could make implements. So smithy and workshop. So we need a third rank smithy or a third rank workshop. Actually, a second rank workshop and a second rank smithy can make minor helms, which can pilot up to 50 feet worth of ship. So we can have a bunch of small, like the mecha that our team are piloting. Those are technically second rank. They're second rank ships. They don't cost more than, well, actually, how much do they cost? They're 20-foot ships. So let's look at the gold piece value of 20-foot ships. Look at the material. They're made out of, let's say heavy material is the most expensive. Heavy material, 20-foot ship. It occupies a 4x4 space. That'd be 800 gold. So it'll take 800 gold for a 20-foot mecha. That means that we could produce one in a second rank workshop. We can make one every 2 weeks. So we can't build ships super fucking fast. Not until characters get up to 9th level and have the chance of boosting their stuff up to 3rd rank. So if they can't quickly make more mecha. They've got 5 in their carrier hangar bay right now, and we could have a few stray mecha. It's 200 gold. So like a 10-foot mecha costs 400 gold. So a second rank workshop or armory could make a 10-foot mecha each week. It would take a first rank workshop to make a 10-foot mecha. It would take them 4 weeks to make it. A third rank workshop that can produce 4,000 gold could make 10-foot mecha, but it would take them a month to do it. It goes week, month, season. I think that's the scaling that we have, if I recall correctly. Hold on, let's go look. Week, month, season. Yeah, those are our time frames for permanent magic items. So to make a value 400 gold, so we can make a minor spelljamming helm at a second rank workshop or armory. Workshop makes the most sense. We can make one with one order each workshop. Like a workshop can only carry out one order at a time. So to make a minor spelljamming helm, it would take our workshop 1 week to make a minor spelljamming helm, 400 gold piece value. It would take a month for a third rank to build out 4,000 gold, which is 10 mecha. Since it's outranking the item, we can reduce it. So this can make basically 10 mecha per, it can make 4,000 gold, 1 week, divided by 4. Divided by 4,000. So it can make two mecha per week. 4,000. We drop down the scale to 1 week. Divide this by the difference, which is 4. So 4,000 it can do in 1 week. If it was a 4th rank facility that was making 400-foot mecha, in 1 month it could create 100 of them, or 25 per week, because 40,000 divided by 4 is 10,000, divided by 400, 25. There you yeah, so there's your math. So that's how that math breaks down. It's very light math. That's the most complicated math in the game. But if you wanted to, you could just say, fuck it. After a month, you get whatever you want. I'm tired, and it's 9:15, and we have completed our last Asteroid community. So go team! Congratulations to us, guys. Well done. So we got that out of the way. We now have all 6 of our communities built. We have all of our communities built out, all the maps to all of our communities that are built out now. Scabber's Cove. So here's Scabber's Cove. Here's Far Hope, which is a 2nd, nearly 3rd ranked community. Zoom in a little bit. Each of these squares is 5 miles. Here is Fell Tower. Each of these squares is also 5 miles. 5 miles on this one, Redstone, and it has another spherical gravity orbit in binary orbit with Redstone, and that is we call it Iron Rock. Here is Cragfall, and this is called Basil's Score. It's an Electrum asteroid mine. So all the refinery is over here, Basil's Refinery. Basil is the name of the guy that discovered it, so they named it after him, Basil's Score. And this is Capital Rock, and each one of these squares is 10 miles. There you go. Those are our 6 asteroid communities. They all reside within our local cluster, which is here. This local cluster is in orbit around Eberron, right here. So we now have our communities. We now have all the bastions in those communities. We now have all the complications and orders and challenges that they're all facing. We've already built out all of those. So we have a dense, vibrant community with shitloads of plot hooks and plenty of threats for the characters to mess around in when they get equipped. So we have kaiju that are attacking the different asteroid communities. There will be like D4 probably D4 kaijus per attacks per bastion turn, which is a week. So we could have a kaiju fight every week that we're actually playing. There's 4 game sessions per bastion turn, 1 session per Saturday, 3-hour shift. So 12 hours of gameplay broken up into as many little one-shot like 5-room dungeons or whatever. Get broken up like into small little vignette encounters and adventures that will occupy the 12 hours of game time that the characters have to play. The players have to play, bouncing between orders, complications, issuing NPCs to go resolve complications that arise. We already said fighting kaiju, and then adventures that the characters actually want to go on. So they may have like 3 or 4 hours of progress on personal goals, aside from dealing with complications and kaiju attacks. And if we do a good job, we'll fold those complication adventures into the storyline that the characters want, that the players want to conduct. Like if they want to fight pirates, when complications arise, they'll have the opportunity to work with me to develop what is this complication. And if they want to fight pirates, we can funnel it in towards, this is a pirate problem, so we can keep fighting pirates. So we'll frame this around pirates' fault. how do we fight pirates and resolve this complication? What's a narrative we can create that resolve this problem by fighting pirates? And that'll be our adventure. And we'll go fight pirates, and we finish. We'll complete whatever it is that needed to get the complication resolved, and then we can continue fulfilling the orders that we had to our bastions. So the next time, I'm not actually going to be here on Thursday. I've got family coming into town to visit me. I've got family in Tennessee that wants to get away from the snow, so they're catching a flight up here to hang out with us here in the nice weather in Seattle, and that's going to be this Thursday. So I will not be here on Thursday this week. So the next time we have we do a campaign update like this, that'll be on Monday. We're going to spend the entire session fleshing out mecha and making more kaiju for these encounters, and we can talk about spell jamming ship economy and combat actions and siege combat. I'll be back tomorrow morning to continue with creating the Eberron adventure artwork that we'll be publishing on DMsGuild in probably the next couple weeks. Maybe by December, maybe by February 12th. Maybe, we'll see. But that's super close to being done. And then on Saturday, I will not be here on Saturday because I'll have family around, so I'm not going to be playtesting this weekend. I think I may or may not actually be on in the morning to do color magic stuff. We'll see. But I think Wednesday lunchtime, I'll have time to continue working on the Spelljammer spell list at lunch. And then Thursday, I'm planning on taking a half day on Friday. So I should have some time in the morning available for us to mess around with stuff on Thursday and Friday. Saturday will be off, and then Monday we'll be back to our normal routine of Monday and Thursday nights and Saturday mornings, and then artwork every day, Monday through Friday, game play testing on Saturday. So I'm going to go ahead and cut stream here. Thank you for everyone that's been kicking through today. If you thought this stuff was cool, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications of when we're live in the future. All of our stuff is oh my god, thank you, new people. Wow, appreciate that. All of our stuff is the Asteroid Belt campaign that we've been building is here. The Spelljammer Combat and Exploration is already published on DMsGuild here. The Bastion book, the Bastion mechanics are in this. The Spelljammer subclasses that characters can build with for the Spelljammer Combat Mechanics book is here. And the Kaiju Constructs expansion for human-shaped ships and massive-sized creatures. That's down here. And I will be back tomorrow morning. So thanks a lot, folks, for checking this shit out. I'll see you guys on the other side. So timer. See you guys.